Greetings, everyone. And welcome to a petrifyingly paltry edition of Monster Party. Monster Party! Monster Party! Monster Party! Gobble, gobble, gobble. You're doing a little turkey thing. That's pretty good. Hey, that's good.
That's not bad.
Good, yeah.
That's a good turkey.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. And speaking of turkey, who are you, sir?
I do love turkey. I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
And there's a theme.
Really?
Guess what? Yeah, we're doing a Thanksgiving edition of our show.
That's right.
Yeah.
And because it's Thanksgiving, we want to relate it somehow to turkeys.
Turkey!
I'm not even really a big fan of Thanksgiving. Are you guys?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
How about
what,
you?
You don't
For
like
the food, yeah.
family and food. What is it? You don't like family and food? What's wrong with you? It's so un-American. I love Thanksgiving.
I can have that without the holiday, is what I'm saying. What I like,
Right.
what I like about Thanksgiving is what we ended up doing with it. We turned it into this holiday where we are thankful for the things that we have and the people in our lives. And I am. I'm thankful for you guys, for example.
Oh, likewise.
Yeah. And I love a turkey dinner. That's one of my favorite things.
Oh, who doesn't?
Sure.
Do you like stuffing?
I
Larry?
love
I
stuffing.
love stuffing.
Cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
No, you're not a big cranberry guy?
No, we've done this before. We've talked about
you
it.
talk-
Oh,
yeah.
let's do it again.
No.
No, because I want to know, how about sweet potatoes?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm not into that either.
Matt, no,
I
just
like
regular.
sweet potatoes.
Just give me
Yeah, I don't
mashed
do that either.
potatoes.
You? Yeah, you like sweet
Mashed
potatoes?
potatoes.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, sweet potatoes are okay, but mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Regular
Yeah.
mashed potatoes.
Nothing beats that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sweet potatoes, like right now, there's this thing where people are offering sweet potato fries.
Yeah.
I hate them.
It's a health
Yeah,
thing.
it doesn't work for me either.
They're pretty good. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know.
They're okay. I feel
Yeah.
like, it's like,
A sweet potato pie, I can do that because it's almost like a pumpkin pie.
What about yams?
Isn't that the same thing?
Yeah, but like with like the
Marshmallow?
the stuff on them like that.
But
like,
then that becomes almost a dessert. right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay, but I would rather, I'm more savory than sweet.
Yeah, me
So
too.
I like gravy, mashed potatoes, stuffing, like really good stuffing. Like that's almost like my favorite thing of the meal.
Yeah, mine too.
And my brother, he hates white meat. I love the
Really?
white meat,
I like only.
but
the
it
white
has
meat.
to be, the white meat has to be cooked really well.
Yes, yes.
So it's juicy. And so I don't know where my brother's coming from because apparently he's never had really good white meat turkey.
Well, it's great when it just comes out of the oven. Then it's tender and...
You know what my mom's secret is?
Yeah.
Is that you cook the turkey, you turn it over.
down.
Yeah.
That's my mom's secret
Is that
too.
right too?
Yeah.
So all the dark meat juices go down into the white meat.
Well, gee, I guess it's not a big secret, is it? And you know what? I kind of like, because I feel like I'm in the dark here. You're keeping
In
this
the
a
dark
big
meat.
secret. So what is the topic then?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Well, the topic is, because we've been hitting on the turkey theme, the Monster Party turkey shoot.
The Monster Party Turkey Shoot!
Turkey shoot!
As in like turkeys when it comes to movies.
Movies.
Yeah.
Remember like the Golden Turkey Awards.
Yes.
Sure.
Like Mystery Science Theater would do their
Turkey Day.
Turkey Day marathon.
Yes.
So we're thinking, cinematic turkeys. you know?
Turkeys. Get it?
Yeah,
Turkeys.
yeah.
But
We're clever.
But these are movies that we consider are turkeys because they're either badly made or just they're laughable. They have elements that are just don't work. But that doesn't necessarily mean we don't like them. We could love them. They could be guilty pleasures. We could hate them. They could piss us off. Whatever. But they're just movies that we consider generally turkeys.
A wide range.
It's horror and sci-fi.
Yeah.
Running the gamut.
Because it's fun to talk bad movies.
Yes,
Cheesy
yeah.
movies. You know?
And, we don't have a guest this time, but this is the type of topic that I like talking about with you guys.
Right.
Because you guys are like family. And we've had these discussions over many a dinner, many a cocktail, many a
Right.
Comic-Con,
Right.
many a Japan.
orgies. Yeah.
Our orgies, yes.
again,
the famous
Shawn,
Monster
my
Party.
God.
He has
Oh,
another
Mr.
life.
Gigolo here. Hey, hey, Shawn
now.
Sheridan.
Women will pay top dollar to get a piece of that.
Well,
That's right.
Shawn, you're constantly amazing me. I mean, just
Okay.
constantly.
All right. Well, should we get this thing going then?
Yes, let's
Yeah.
do
Do
it.
it.
Anybody want to start with something? Do you got something right off the bat on your mind?
Give thanks with your turkey.
Okay.
I do. Okay. We all know probably one of the most famous turkey films, bad films, is Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yes,
Right?
that is a classic.
And well-deserved
Yes.
place.
Yeah.
But there's another Ed Wood film that not many people know about that was made around the same time as Plan 9 and as Bride of the Monster. And that was a film called Night of the Ghouls.
Night of the Ghoul.
And this was kind of like a semi-sequel to Bride of the Monster.
Okay.
And this was a film that actually was considered lost for a long time. And it wasn't until like in the 80s, they finally got a print of it, and it came out on VHS and then eventually DVD. And it's another kind of ridiculous Ed Wood setup where there's this cop who is investigating these murders, and there's this kind of haunted house, and there's this swami kind of medium who's supposedly
I love swamis.
who's like supposedly contacting the dead, and rich clientele come over to give money, and he's pretending to like contact their spirits.
Almost sounds like a good movie.
Yeah, but it's not.
Okay.
But it features Tor Johnson playing Lobo, the same character he played in Bride of the Monster. Because if you remember, of course, you remember.
By popular demand.
Yeah, yes. At the end of Bride of the Monster, the place like blows up or something, and Lobo supposedly is killed. So in this one, actually, Tor Johnson has some kind of cool, like, disfigured burn makeup on, which is kind of cool.
I remember seeing pictures of that.
Yeah, and there's also a character who played a cop in Plan 9 or Bride of the Monster, I can't remember, who comes back. So there's a couple like recurring characters.
Oh, yeah. What's that guy's name?
Paul Marco played the cop in this film as well as the other one.
Yeah.
But it turns out that the medium, he's stealing money from these people, from these seances and stuff. But then it turns out he actually does have supernatural powers, and he brings back real dead people, and they start, killing people. And there's this like ghostly woman, and it sounds cool, but the thing about Plan 9 from Outer Space is that it's a bad movie, but it is not a boring movie, and it is a very entertaining film.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen that movie dozens of times, and it's actually a fun movie. Yes, it's badly made, but it's fun.
Isn't it one of the first movies where it's so bad consistently in every scene, in every way, that it becomes something beautiful?
It's like a perfect party film. It really is entertaining and
it's
funny.
bad in ways that you wouldn't even think of.
Yeah.
See, now you're getting to a tricky little area here. This is my question to you. I mean, I thought that this would come up. Isn't Plan 9 from Outer Space, guys, it's considered one of the worst films ever made for a reason. Is this something you can sit home and watch on your TV by yourself and go, ha ha, this is great? Or is it something...
Me personally? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
But here, listen.
100%.
If you're with a group, Sean, it's like when Matt's doing one of his little movie things. Hey, we're all sitting together and we're all watching. We're all throwing things.
You got Flying Saucers, Bela Lugosi, Vampira, Tor Johnson. I mean, there's so much great kitsch stuff in that. That's great. But the reason I say this is because unlike Plan 9 from Outer Space, Night of the Ghouls is not like that. Night of the Ghouls is often quite boring and plodding. There are moments of Ed Woodian hilarity and just what the fuckness, but not on the same level and consistency as Plan 9. So, it was this lost film. It was this amazing little kind of like gem found after all these years. Not really. It is interesting from a historical point of view. And of course, if you're, a big horror fan or an Ed Wood completist, you probably want to see it. But I was kind of disappointed. It was just certainly it's not on the level of entertainment value as Plan 9.
Because Plan 9 is kind of like the Sgt. Pepper's.
It really is.
Bad movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a turkey that it really is a turkey and not really a fun turkey.
Not really, yeah.
Okay, whereas Plan 9 is a fun turkey.
Yeah, that's
Night of the Ghouls is not a great turkey.
Right.
Okay, fine.
There you go.
All right, well, let me throw out a turkey to you.
All right.
Okay, and I remember hearing about this movie, Sean, and I was excited. And you know why? Because I had heard that this great makeup effects artist, this young guy, was working on this film. And it was called, this is from 1977, The Incredible Melting Man.
Interesting.
If you guys recall, Famous Monsters had dedicated a cover to the Melting Man, that was done by Rick Baker.
Oh, yeah.
Young Rick Baker worked on, I'm not going to say makeup, it's more like masks and stuff.
It's great.
And that's
I
a
love
photo,
that.
right?
Yeah,
On that
this
cover.
is a photo of a cover, and I
Yeah.
remember seeing this and going, "Oh my god, I can't wait for this film!"
Yeah.
Because I mean, think about it. What's it all about? This guy who's melting, and his skin is melting away. You see the skeleton underneath. And this is interesting. It was written and directed by a gentleman named William Sachs. And what I didn't realize when I did the research, because when you watch the film, it's kind of played straight. Well, apparently he had a bunch of comedy in it originally, but it was removed. The producer, the producers felt that this film is going to sell better if we take it more seriously. And because of that, there's certain things in the film that don't really work very well. And in fact, the producers filmed some additional stuff without the director and put it in the film.
Interesting.
I wonder what the comedy was like.
Yeah, it's like say, where is it? Is it on the cutting room floor? Is there a director's cut? I don't know.
I saw that in the theater.
Did you?
Really? That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And I as a kid, I loved how the melting man
I
looked.
love all the makeup
and
stuff.
so
It's great.
it's like the plot. It's about an astronaut whose body begins to melt after he's exposed to radiation during
It's
a
a remake.
flight. Yeah,
It's
First Man into
it's kind of
Space, right?
an unofficial remake of First Man into Space. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Which is like a 50s British film.
And influenced by
Virtually the same
Pretty much, yeah.
premise.
yeah, and also influenced by the Quatermass experiment.
Oh, yeah.
But,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, Sachs wanted to make it more of a parody, and the producer decided, no, we're not going to do it that way. But there's also a picture of Rick Baker with a bunch of his melting man masks on Starlog magazine.
Yeah,
That's right,
I remember
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh my God, this Rick Baker guy is amazing.
Well, I think the main appeal to that movie, at least for me, is the makeup effects, the stages of it gets to the gruesomeness pretty quickly.
It does.
and
It does.
that's why I like. And I do. It's not a great movie, but I do enjoy it though.
No, and that's why I
Yeah.
thought it was kind of a turkey, and maybe like many films that aren't made very well, the selling point is they try to pitch a certain thing, whether it's the poster or you see a man melt in front of your eyes, and you go, oh, I want to see that, and you get to the film and you're like, oh, it's not that great, but there's something special about the film to me because I was a huge fan of Rick Baker.
It's a good drive-in film.
Yeah,
you know?
and so,
It's really fun.
Yeah, it is.
but as
And it's got one of my favorite gratuitous nudity scenes.
Oh yes, with Cheryl Smith.
Yeah.
AKA Rainbow Smith.
Yeah.
And it's Jonathan Demme, I believe, is the photographer in the scene.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. He's like this photographer taking pictures of doing glamour photos of her out in the field.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, take it for top now. Come on, take it off. And it's like,
He pulls her top down.
Yeah.
And she does nothing
Yeah.
to pull it back up again.
and then she backs into the bushes where there's like the melting man or something. She
Yeah.
screams and
One thing you have to say about that movie is that he does melt.
he does.
He really melts.
He does really melt.
It's not like Abbott and Costello go to Mars when they don't actually go to Mars. In the film, The Incredible Melting Man, he melts.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And
That's true.
and I do want to say,
And the ending is kind of funny.
what's weird is if you're not familiar with this film, when the film came out back in the 77, it did do well. It made money, but it was not considered to be a great film. In fact, it was considered to be a turkey at the time. But because I was into the whole Rick Baker effects thing, I was a fan, and still when I see it, I have a love for it.
I like it
So,
too.
Turkey that I like.
Okay.
Absolutely. Good one.
So I have a movie that I think is really a turkey and not in the good way.
Okay.
Not in the, we can watch it and have fun with it. I
Okay.
just think it's dull and not entertaining at all. And that is the 1997 science fiction horror film called The Relic.
Oh, The Relic! I remember that.
I remember that.
Directed by Peter Hyams.
Yeah, Peter Hyams.
Oh.
And it's got Penelope Ann Miller, Tom Sizemore, and Linda Hunt. And it's about this creature that comes from South America that's this mythical beast called the Cathoga.
Cathoga.
And through a series of circumstances, it makes its way to our shores and is loose in this Chicago museum.
Well, it could happen.
Now, sounds good already, right?
no, you have
Monster
me.
in a museum.
You have me.
Ooh. Yeah, it's messing with the exhibits.
Yeah.
But the creature effects were done by Stan Winston. So it's half practical effects and the other half is CGI.
Okay.
The CGI has never ruined a movie more than in this film. Wow. It's so bad. And none of you have seen it?
I haven't. It's weird. It's not very memorable to me because I remember, but when you say about the monster, I just remember not seeing enough of the monster or not having it.
No, it takes forever to see the thing. When you finally see it, it looks kind of like a boar.
Lizard boar.
Yeah. It's like if Predator was mixed with a wild boar.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just not that interesting.
I remember when the previews came out, and I was excited. Oh, I gotta see the Relic. Looks cool.
Sure.
I never got around to it, but now I'm hearing
the problem with this movie.
Yeah.
Is that they use CGI way before CGI should ever have been used.
Yeah,
right.
Before it came into its own.
Yeah. I mean, it just sticks out like a sore thumb, and it completely removes you from any kind of fear or tension or suspense.
And with time, I guess it just
worse.
makes it worse.
It's not a good movie.
I know we say it a lot, but it's true. It's like specifically CGI more than any other movie special effect
Dates
does not
quickly.
age well.
No.
Like, you know, look at practical effects or even stop motion, but like CGI, when you see old, crude, early CGI, it really looks bad.
Yeah, I mean, movies like Tron, where they create their own world using the CGI, that works better.
But I still like Tron. I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying. I think there it does work. Right. I would say it even works today.
Because it's in a different world. Yeah. It's not in reality. Right.
But the Relic...
Those effects were not ready for prime time. They were not ready at all.
So serious turkey.
Yeah, just avoid at all costs.
Okay, so that's a turkey you are not recommending.
Not at all.
All right.
Well,
and I know that you, James gave us a little heads up that it's going to be downhill all the way with your titles, right?
Yes, and I'm going to start at the top with a movie I did not walk out on.
Okay.
Wow.
And in keeping with science fiction horror from 1997, Alien Resurrection. Oh. This is a movie we have not talked too much about.
Oh yeah.
Now, it was directed by a French director, Jean-Pierre Jeunet, and with
Delicatessen,
and I think City of Lost Children.
Yes, yeah.
And he was a good director.
Yes,
maybe the wrong choice for an Alien film.
Yeah.
And a script by Joss Whedon.
But they didn't use that script.
But they didn't use that script. And
have you read that script?
I did not. Have you?
Yeah. Good. I've got a copy of it. It's great.
See, why didn't they?
I don't understand when that happens.
Yeah.
Just shoot this.
So Alien Resurrection, fill me in.
Have you seen it?
No, because you told me not to. You said, Larry, if you see this, it's going to wreck the whole Alien franchise for you.
Really?
So yes, you did. We had this whole discussion about it.
Wow.
That's how influential
well, maybe you're on some of your magical pills or something.
Magic pills.
I think you're getting confused. I think that was for the more recent Alien film.
Oh,
what's that
Alien Covenant.
Covenant.
Yes.
That's the one he was talking about.
Oh.
And that does completely ruin.
So you have not seen Resurrection?
No.
That was like the third.
That was the fourth. It was the fourth. And, Sigourney Weaver coming back as Ripley, Winona Ryder, and Ron Perlman's in it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did see this one.
Yeah, okay.
But that's how memorable it is, right?
So you really didn't like it.
No, here's the thing.
There's a handful of scenes.
Yeah,
here's the thing. I despised Alien 3. I hated where they took that direction so much that I went in with an open mind on Resurrection, and I thought, okay, how are they going to try to salvage this? And I give them credit for trying. Mm-hmm. Ripley wakes up, it's years and years later, and now these evil scientists from a corporation are trying to clone her in order to get the alien from her, the alien DNA.
Right.
But she's become like spliced with the alien DNA, so she's part alien now.
Yes.
That's not a bad idea. That concept.
It's not a bad idea to try to salvage where it's going to go, and I admired Sigourney Weaver's acting in it, but it's not necessarily where I never wanted Ripley to be in that
space pirates, all those guys.
All those kooky, weird, quirky characters. It's funny, but like, I think the Alien franchise is a lot like, to me, like the Terminator franchise. It's so inconsistent and so all over the place. Now, I haven't seen the latest Terminator film, which I hear some good things about. But if you look at that franchise too, there's so many misses as well as hits. And like, there's no through line really. It's all over the place. And that's why I feel like the Alien franchise is too. Like you start with a great iconic film with a healthy studio behind it, and like, what we can make this franchise go on forever, and they try it, and they throw all this money and they throw all these talented directors on it, but it just doesn't work so many times.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here because now that you've straightened me out here, I did see Resurrection, and I will say this: I did enjoy it more than you did. I did there's some really cool stuff. You brought up a really cool thing that Ripley is like part alien and part human, and there's
That
a
part is
sequence,
cool.
There's a sequence where apparently the scientists have tried this experiment many times, and it hadn't really worked. And so what they have these giant containers filled with the creatures or whatever it is that came out of their creation.
It's like the aborted fetuses.
Exactly. And there's a sequence where Ripley goes into this room, and what I loved was Sigourney Weaver was asked about the scene, and she says, when we filmed it, I purposely didn't want to see what they were creating because I wanted the experience to be like, I'm seeing these for the first time. And they came up with some horrific creations, these alien hybrid things. And as she's walking through looking at all of these things, she's like flipping out. And I found that sequence to be really, really cool.
There
And
are a handful of scenes
Yeah,
that work. I like the hybrid alien.
the hybrid alien, yeah. And so look, James, I'm not gonna say I hated it as a turkey. It's not my favorite Alien film, but like you, I hated Alien 3. Hated, I despise. And so, yes, I understand about the pirates and things, and there were some goofy things, but I felt like there was more there to offer. It wasn't the perfect Alien film, but I was somewhat satisfied.
The new Alien films will make you appreciate that one a lot more.
Yes,
True,
That's true.
true.
Going back
And
now.
actually, I disagree, though, with you about the hybrid alien. I love the idea of the hybrid alien. I thought the design of it was pretty weak. I didn't think it looked very good.
The little nose thing that twitched,
No,
you didn't like
I
that?
didn't buy
And you didn't
it.
like
After
how
the beautiful design of the original Alien, that thing looked like it didn't. I don't know.
But
it was
I thought
Sean,
it was weird. I thought it was creepy and kind of sad.
It's sad.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also, Sean, think about it. It's not a gorgeous alien. It's like this mutation
Yeah,
type
it's like this
thing.
weird misfit
and
thing.
think about it, too, when that guy's there, come on, come feed, come feed. And then you have the big thing
that's
coming.
Brad Dourif, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that I thought was horrific. And you're right. It doesn't look like the first classic Alien
Right.
that we
no,
know
it shouldn't
and love.
look exactly like that. I just
But
thought it was
like
a-
Matt said, to me, it's like this twisted, grotesque, sad, pathetic,
right.
it's still dangerous creature. So
But a creature that really did not ask to be born.
yeah,
right.
And it managed to get some empathy from me.
So
Okay.
if you are considering it a turkey, I'm going to say it's a turkey that I do like. If it's on, I'm going to. Oh, there's that.
So do you
alien
hate
form.
it?
Yeah, do you hate-
No. Of all the films on my list tonight, that's the one I hate the least.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sean?
Okay, this is a true, genuine turkey. You guys know we have talked about, of course, Mac and Me.
Oh yes.
But there were other E.T. ripoffs that took place in the 80s. And this movie makes Mac and Me look like E.T. This is a South African film made in 1987 called Nuki.
Wait, Nuki?
Nuki?
Nukie.
I've never heard of this.
Any relation to
Nobody has.
Houdini?
No. Nuki is a weird, stupid-looking, misshapen monkey-type looking alien that crash lands on Earth. But he crash lands on Earth at the same time. He has a little brother who also crash lands, but they're separated. So Nuki lands in Africa and has to find his little brother. I forget the brother's name, but Miko. It's a Miko.
Miko.
So
Wow,
it's
you
Nuki-
remember.
Yes,
It's like, are you sure that's not a Star Wars character? I mean,
so it's Nuki and Miko are alien brothers, and they're cute little ET-looking rip-off aliens.
Okay.
And Nuki's in the desert of Africa, and he befriends two African kids, and they have to help him find Miko, who's been captured by the government and subjected to all these tests.
Okay.
And it's a horrible movie. It's like it's from another planet, the way the film is, but it's got Steve Railsback in it.
Oh, my God.
Glynis Johns. And Nuki can fly. He can turn invisible. He
Wow.
can teleport. And he befriends these kids. He can also talk to animals. And at one point, he talked...
Why isn't he running our planet then?
Yes. And there's also like a talking chimp in the film. And it is,
Of course there is.
It is god-awful.
Landslide Link.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's atrocious. But it's kind of like one of those you can't take your eyes off of. It's so bad. It's made for kids in a really cloying way, but then there's also kind of like got some like gun-toting characters running around trying to kill him, and it's very bizarre.
If he's named Nuki, you'd think he's like radioactive. Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just, I think it's just the name they gave him. But he flies around, becomes like a glowing sphere, and it's so terrible. But it's
What
like
year is this again?
1987.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's kind of worth watching at least once because you
Okay.
have to.
I think I might.
just to realize that such a thing exists.
Nuki.
Yeah,
Nuki.
Nuki.
So would you say, hey, I'm going to watch Nuki tonight because I want to, and you
want,
take
like-
a couple cocktails?
Yeah,
I'm all high on the tryptophan.
Yeah, bad film night. Nuki could be enjoyable.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So check it out.
with a group of friends or
Yeah,
just by
or just
yourself?
by yourself naked.
One very special friend.
Yes.
Okay, well, look, I don't know if I'm going to watch Nuki, but this next film, which was considered a turkey by many people,
Okay.
I can watch over and over again, and I have a lot of heartfelt feelings towards this film.
Okay.
And I'm talking about, and I have a little history about this because I had some stories about
As long
it.
as it's very little.
I'm talking about the film from 1970 with Joan Crawford, Trog.
Interesting. This almost made my list.
Now, some people say, Larry, didn't you talk about Trog a while back? Well, here's the funny thing. I had mentioned Trog here and there, and you guys kind of poo-pooed me, you know.
Yeah,
and
we
I
never
mentioned,
really got
No,
into
you never
Trog.
got
Yeah.
into Trog. But see, Trog it's to me, I love the film for a couple reasons. Number one, Matt and I, when we were kids, we had watched this TV show called Creature Features in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Right.
And that is one of the films that I remember watching and being so excited about it. So what is Trog? So Trog, it's from 1970. It's a British science fiction film with Joan Crawford, and she's a scientist. These people discover like a caveman, like a Neanderthal, like he's
supposed to be a Neanderthal man.
caveman, still living and alive in these caves. And so they bring him out, and so she kind of works with him and tries to train him and teach him things. And so with Joan Crawford, she's given a bang-up performance. This was her last feature film, and it wasn't because, was she old and she died?
She's not bad in it.
No. The funny thing was, she was a beautiful Hollywood movie star. Yes. Back in the 30s and the 40s, Matt, she was Matt.
That's your
I'm
type, huh?
Will you let me explain? She was
Joan
a beautiful,
Crawford.
yes, and she was a Hollywood royalty. So understand that for years and years and years, she was used to a certain way of being a movie star or whatnot. When she worked on this film, it was nothing like being a movie star. She had
Craft services was
exactly
the big
This
vat
was-
of peanut butter, the
was-
big vat of jelly.
Exactly, it was a
White
low
bread.
budget. It was a low budget film. She shared the dressing room with the guy who was Trog. Getting the makeup
Did she
on.
really?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, my God.
And what's great, I had mentioned to you, Matt. I said I have stories about Trog. You're, I can't wait to hear the stories. Well, these are some of the stories. One of the things I wanted to let you know.
Some of the stories.
Well, one of them is, you're going to like this.
Okay.
First of all, in the TV series Feud, it was Feud, Bet and Joan from 2017, which was an anthology television series on FX. It was created by Ryan Murphy, and it tells the story of Betty Davis and Joan Crawford and their battle when they were making Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. And it tells this great story about how they didn't like each other, how the film was a big success, and how they were going to do another film, and it didn't really work out. And so Joan Crawford went on to do Trog. And there's a whole sequence in this TV series of Jessica Lange, who plays Joan Crawford, on the set of Trog. And they have the guy in the Trog makeup. And when you look at the Trog makeup, you go, boy, that really looks like one of the masks from 2001.
Yes.
Which is essentially what it is.
Wasn't it Dan Streepek? I never pronounced his last
Streepek.
Streepek. Dan Streepek.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it's
Who did Planet of the Apes.
Exactly, but it's the same type of thing that they used for the Dawn of Man in 2001.
And so what it looks like is they got the mask.
Yeah.
But they didn't get the rest of the
No.
costume.
Yes.
Yeah,
Matt,
it's
you're-
like literally a guy in like a loincloth.
exactly,
It's
and
so funny.
boots and little
Yeah,
loincloth
little-
You
boots.
can see
Yeah.
his nice, clean-shaven
Yeah.
belly.
Yeah.
And
Like
a-
exactly, yeah,
It's so
yeah.
funny. But Larry, just so you know, I love Trog.
Oh,
I
didn't know that you loved
yes,
Trog.
I love it, but
I thought you hated Trog.
No, I
There's
love
no
it.
way Sean Sheridan
Yeah,
can hate
it's fantastic.
Trog.
Michael Gow, and
Yeah,
it's like it's fantastic.
So one of the things I wanted to let you guys know that I'm not sure if you did know was actually about the director. Did you guys know about Freddie Francis?
yeah, he's
Oh my God! Yeah.
See, a lot
Classic
of
Hammer
Famed
films.
See, and a lot of
cinematographer.
See, a lot of people don't realize that. So this film in the 70s, directed by Freddie Francis, was Freddie Francis is an Academy Award-winning director of photography. One of the films he did was one of Matt's favorites, The Innocents.
Right.
Which he actually considered to be one of his finest films that he was the director of photography on.
It's amazing.
The challenge here for Trog was it's a low-budget film. You know, and he's under pressure to try to make it look as good as possible. He is working with another Academy Award winner, Joan Crawford, but again, you're working in these cheap surroundings. One of my favorite sequences is when Trog is in the lab and Joan Crawford gives him a Major Matt Mason space toy to play with. And when I saw that as a kid, I flipped out. And of course,
and I could get along with Trog.
I could. The thing is, I think he might play with the Major Matt Mason toys a little stronger than I'd want him to play with. But
he is Trog.
Trog has two figures.
Yes, I have that same Major Matt Mason toy. It's the space crawler.
You have the one that Trog played with?
Well, not the exact one, but you know that toy that he's playing with.
Sure.
I have that one.
And you know, Trog was produced by Herman Cohen, who did a lot of films like Conga and Berserk, also with Joan Crawford. He also did I Was a Teenage Werewolf and How to Make a Monster. You know, he was like
Speaking of turkeys.
schlocky producer.
Yeah.
But
Conga's pretty awful.
Conga, I still enjoy it though. I mean,
but see, Trog, it's a tragic story. You know, imagine it's like anything man touches and destroys. It's like here we have this great Neanderthal man that's brought back to life.
and I love how easy it is to find him.
It's true.
They're
He's
just
living in
people
the caves.
hiking in the field and they go into a hole and there he is.
There he is. Well, he's
like,
and you wonder where you're
selling strawberries on the side of the road.
No, he's not selling strawberries. But listen, to listeners, it is considered to be a turkey, a low-budget turkey film. But as turkeys
it's a ridiculous movie, but it's really fun.
But it's totally fun.
It is neat. I mean, it's done with the best intentions.
I love when he wanders into town. He wanders into the butcher shop. And
but there's a horrifying sequence in the butcher shop, which I don't want to give away. I don't want to give away.
Pretty strong for back then.
And as a kid, Sean, when I saw it, I flipped out at that
Not
moment.
the kind of scene you expect with a movie that stars Joan Crawford.
No. But my hat is off to Joan Crawford and to Freddie Francis. So it is considered a turkey, but from 1970, one of my favorite turkeys, Trog.
Now, Larry, I didn't see Feud, but does it bring Joan Crawford's career all the way up to Night Gallery?
That's a really good question. No, because it's the whole sequence. After she did Trog, what had happened was there were these reviews criticizing how she looked, and it's like, my God, is that really fair? She's like, she's an older lady. What do you expect? And they felt that maybe she's trying to look too glamorous. And there were some photos in the tabloids of her. I mean, she always tried to doll herself up, but she's going out, and the photos were not very flattering. She goes, okay, that's it. I'm not going to do anything more. She could have continued. Like Betty Davis continued to do films.
That's absurd, too.
Well, I just
attack someone.
Well, the weird thing is, if you understand the kind of movie star that she was, I mean, she had always struggled to try to look her best, kind of a thing. And it's really unfair and really sad because she could have done a lot of other stuff. In the TV series Feud, it didn't go into that much detail. I was just so thrilled that they showed Trog, and Trog was the last film that she did, and the result of the criticism, she goes, okay, that's it.
I'm always kind of interested in the fact that she did Night Gallery and that Steven Spielberg directed her in it, because here you have a Hollywood legend who's on her way out, and a Hollywood legend to be who's just starting out.
Right.
And if someone were going to like dramatize that in a TV movie or a stage play, that would actually be pretty cool.
It was the same with when Spielberg did Columbo. He did the first regular episode of Columbo with Jack Cassidy as the killer, and it was like, Spielberg was in his 20s, early 20s.
He had a gift,
and he was directing this. It was a big show, and he pulled it off.
The element of ego, though.
Well, here's the thing I wanted to tell you. For the sake of the TV show Feud, what it was showing was her rise and fall in essence, where she was used to having her own dressing room and all this. Now you have a shot of her in this little dressing room sharing it with the guy who's being made up as Trog. And there was some great poetic stuff there, and to give her, she didn't put up a stink. She took a deep breath and she dealt with it. She dealt with it because she's a professional. Right. And you knew it was hard for her, but she was doing what she was trying to make a living, is what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
So no, it didn't go into that. And my understanding is when Joan Crawford did that with Steven Spielberg, it was only a couple days. It wasn't like Where's Trog? It was several, a few weeks. So.
Right.
But she was a solid actress who could have continued on.
Yeah.
She could have done Trog too.
Well,
I wish.
well, I mean, we joke. I mean, I don't want to jump on Trog and make this the Trog show exactly, but
it won't be.
I will say that Betty Davis went on to do stuff into her 80s. Like she did The Whales of August and a whole bunch of other
Death on the Nile.
Joan Crawford could have done the exact same thing, but she was just so traumatized by the criticism because of how she looked.
Yeah.
And
tabloids and reporters like that's what they zero in on. You either got to just shake it off or...
Trog was really offended, too, when reporters started saying, they didn't like the way he looked. He was too clean-shaven.
Yeah, and that, no, I don't look anything like the apes from 2001.
Right. So there are some stories I wanted to share about Trog.
That's good.
Okay, I enjoyed 78% of them.
All right, cool.
All right, that's not bad.
By the way, where's the Trog action figure?
Yeah.
There you go.
Distinctive dummies. Are you
Oh my
listening?
God!
Perfect for a figure.
And a Joan Crawford figure.
Yeah, double 2-pack.
Oh my God! with a little Major Matt Mason space toy.
Yes.
Oh my God!
That is doable.
Sean, let's write a letter.
Yes.
I want a 3-pack where you can change Joan Crawford from Baby Jane to Trog.
Right.
But she didn't play Baby Jane.
Well, I know,
She
no,
played
but I mean the
Baby
movie.
Jane character.
That character in the movie.
in the wheelchair.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
All you need is a wheelchair.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
An alternate head maybe or a wig or something.
And a little plate
Right.
with a rat in it.
I love it.
Yes.
Let's get this done.
All right.
Go.
Okay.
Who's next?
All right. Here's one that I saw just recently, and I had the poster for it. I had a half-sheet poster of it. And I'd never seen the movie, and I finally watched it, and I was amazed at how, for such a ridiculously primitive film, how entertaining it was. It's not perfect. It's a little Scooby-Doo-ish,
Okay.
but the film is The Beach Girls and the Monster.
The Beach
I love
Girls
it.
and the
I love
Monster.
Also known
You know
as
that
Monster from the Surf.
one? I don't know
Never
this
heard
one.
of it.
1965, directed and starring John Hall, who has
Right.
done many films in the past.
The Invisible Agent.
Invisible Agent. I was the first thing that crossed my mind there. And Invisible Man's Revenge. So he was an established actor, and he made a couple of these movies. I think the other one was Navy and the Night Monsters.
Really?
I
He
believe
did
that
too?
was his too.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. The Navy versus the Night Monsters. And so this one is there's this creature, and it's interesting because the creature is so primitive and ridiculous looking. It's got these big bulging eyes. It looks kind of like a kid show version of the creatures from Horror at Party Beach.
Exactly. Yep.
And those look pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So there's this creature-esque type creature who's killing people. And there's a mystery behind it of like, why is the creature targeting these people who hang out on the beach and other victims? And there's a mystery that you finally, at the end of the movie, get the answer to. But it is ridiculous, but it's also fun. And you would think with a name like that, it's played for laughs.
Yeah.
No,
But it's
definitely
not.
straight, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And there's some kind of for the year it was made, it was a little bit of gore.
Some gore. And also, there's a reason why the creature looks the way it does.
Yeah, I like you said, there's a Scooby-Doo element, but I didn't mind it in this case.
No, I did not.
And there's also kind of a sleaziness to it. Like he's got a really slutty wife who's like
Yeah.
she's sleeping around.
sleaze.
And there's got lots of nubile bikini chicks.
So there's so many scenes of women on the beach dancing
Yes.
to surf music.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is always
that's what
great.
I figured that would.
And it's a great soundtrack.
It is, yes.
The soundtrack features the theme song, Dance Baby Dance, written by Frank Sinatra Jr.
no.
Yeah. And it's a good song.
Yeah.
And
How's it go? Dance, baby,
Dance, baby, dance. No, I don't want to get sued.
Okay.
But there's also a bunch of surf music. There's a band called The Hustlers.
The Hustlers.
Yeah, and they do a bunch of surf music, but all the way through there's these nice little surf music instrumentals and jazz music stings all the way through the thing.
Yeah, it's a
They're
good-
great.
yeah, it's
I
actually-
would love to get the soundtrack.
Yes, yes. It would make a perfect double feature actually with the horror of Party Beach.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
It's super fun, and I mean it's done on a shoestring,
Absolutely.
but the acting is relatively. I mean,
Yeah,
for a
it's done
movie like
straight.
that,
It's
it's
done-
pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
and done with some heart, and I really enjoyed it.
See that? Don't you think? Even though it's considered a turkey, if a film is made with heart, and you can tell when the filmmakers are trying to really try to make something good, I mean, you appreciate it more, right?
Well, and the fact that you've got, I'm sure around this time you had this dearth of beach movies.
Sure, yeah, 1965.
There are all kinds.
Right.
There were so many beach
It was the
movies
big
out
genre.
there, and then you have this movie, which it's obvious that they did not have a lot of money to spend on this film,
Right.
But they did as much as they could with it.
Right.
Once again, the music is great. It's lively all the way through. The fun surf stuff balances the horror stuff pretty well. Although there's one shot where, so in the film, this scientist, John Hall, his son has given up science and doesn't want to be a scientist anymore and just wants to be a surfer. And his father is not happy about this and shouldn't be.
Right.
So at one point, he's watching some film of surfers. And I guess in the original movie, it was shown in color as like a little bit of a gimmick.
Really?
Oh, okay.
But it's really just shameless surfing footage.
right.
And you watch that for about, I don't know, maybe like 5 to 7 minutes. And you go, okay, that's some great surfing. It has nothing to do with the story whatsoever. I guess you could say, oh, it's character building because it's, he shows how much he likes surfing. But I would say that's the weakest part of the film. But everything else, again, considering what this thing is,
Yeah.
it does it pretty well.
But if you like surfing, you'd probably
if
like
you
it
like
a lot.
surfing, you'll love this movie.
Okay, so if you like surfing and monsters
And girls.
Bikini girls.
A lot of bikini girls.
So
Yeah.
it actually kind of sounds like it's got all the elements that you would want.
Yeah, exactly.
In like a drive-in
Right.
movie.
Totally.
In fact, the dancing girls in this film are credited as the Watusi dancing girls from the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Oh, so it's historical. No, you guys laugh, but that's kind of cool.
is, yeah.
I mean, people don't realize that Watusi. I mean, that was a big thing way back when, and the Whiskey A Go-Go. That's a famous club.
Yeah.
We should look up some of those Watusi girls. Maybe they're still,
Get a couple on the show, yeah.
they're on the show.
Get him on the show.
What was it like?
You think you do the Watusi now?
Yeah.
Let me show you, sonny.
Yeah, they're all on life support, but
So it's the monster in the surf.
the Beach Girls and the Monster.
Wow.
AKA the monster from the surf, right?
That's correct.
Right. Two
Cool.
different titles.
All right.
Okay, what do you hate now, James?
I
Why don't we just call this show "What James Hates"?
movies I walked out on. When
Did you walk out on this one that you're about to talk about?
I did.
Okay.
Oh,
Really?
So how do you know you didn't stay for the end?
I did not stay for the end.
Maybe
I
if
could
you
not.
stayed, you might have. Maybe you might have felt differently.
Trog could have shown up.
That would have been an improvement. When Coppola made his version of Dracula, I enjoyed it.
We're talking Francis Ford.
Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
This is the same guy who gave us the Godfather.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, as a follow-up, he produced but didn't direct Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which was directed by Kenneth Branagh, who had done Shakespeare adaptations that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking forward to this.
Right.
The most faithful telling of Mary Shelley's novel to date. Robert De Niro playing the monster.
It sounds like it has everything you could possibly need to make a great Frankenstein film.
Helena Bonham Carter playing the fiance.
I love
Tom
her.
Hulse,
Tom
Aidan
Hulse?
Quinn, Ian Holmes,
John
John
Cleese.
Cleese.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Everything.
What a fucking mess.
Funny walks.
Yeah, it could have used some funny walks.
Yes.
Yeah.
I maybe stuck through it for 40 minutes, maybe 45. I don't know. It was just, there was no narrative drive to it. And Frank Darabont at some point had a hand in the screenplay. So you would think, but to a larger point, I think that it's a hard novel to adapt. I think Frankenstein, the True Story, which was also pretty faithful.
I loved that one.
And there was a TV movie that Dan Curtis did. I want to say
Right.
was it Robert Foxworth?
The True Story one is the one that I remember.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
one.
is
Yeah,
great.
I
is
love
really
that
good.
one. Jane Seymour's in that.
Yeah. But this one, for all its potential, I didn't want to follow it. The thing is, you start watching a movie and then there has to be this drive, this sense of what grabs you, the classic sort of Sid Field machinations of screenplay writing, like what does the main character want? What are the obstacles? And it's cliche, and a lot of it may not be true all the time. But sometimes, if you start watching a movie and it's just not going anywhere, you think, this ain't going to get any better.
Yeah, that movie, I did see it, but God, I remember it just kind of sitting there, and I don't really remember. Boring. And like Robert De Niro as the monster, I didn't like the style or the makeup really. I don't know, it just didn't work. And I remember the thing that stuck out to me was like Kenneth Branagh, like shirtless and sweaty, as like he was like trying to show off all his muscles as he was like bringing the monster to like, what is this? It was like too.
Who was
overly,
this for?
It was just too overly flashy and like,
it's like
trying too hard.
He wanted to be Sting in Dune.
And like Sean says, to me, it was more like Dr. Frankenstein. It's all about me, Kenneth Branagh, Academy Award nominee. Hey, live, and I'm taking my shirt off and sweaty, and look at my bulging muscles. And you're right. It's like, what? No.
That's a story. That's a story that we know very well, and it's sort of the same thing when it comes to doing a Spider-Man movie or a Batman movie. If you're going to do that origin story over again and again and again,
right,
you got to add something new and fresh to it.
I don't know about the new and fresh. There is a moment, James, which did it for me, which made me mad. And I felt like, the film needed to make a choice, whether it was going to be a stylized film, like, let's say, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, a very stylized, unique look, or treat it a little bit more realistically. There was a sequence when someone is being carried up some steps, and there's this red robe that goes over the steps, and there's no railing on the steps. And I looked at that, I went, so this isn't a dream sequence, and in real life, you would have put a banister there. That would, and it made me mad. No, it made me mad. It made me feel like, look, no, in this time, in this day and age, no one would have a staircase without a banister.
And it also goes to show that you're not engrossed in the story.
No,
it takes you out of it.
It does. And now it's one thing if the whole world of this Frankenstein world was like this, where you didn't have pillars or things were funky angles and the colors, or maybe like Suspiria, maybe with different colors or something where it was more of a stylized thing, maybe I would treat it differently. But to me, it couldn't make up its mind, and I hated the whole Kenneth Branagh, look at me, look at my chest. So that was the thing that bugged me, and I didn't feel like I was watching Frankenstein.
Yeah, early on, there's a scene in the forest where De Niro as the monster is trying to get up from the mud, and he's trying to help him get up, and he uses dissolves for some reason. And I'm thinking, this movie is trapped in the mud, and nothing will get it out.
Visually, there are some elements that look cool, like when the bride puts herself on fire. I mean, visually it's neat, but it's like that can't save the whole film. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's faithful. I mean, if Mary Shelley's novel is your favorite novel ever, then you might actually really like this movie, but I don't know.
Yeah, just overproduced, trying too hard.
Thanks, James.
I'm done.
Cool.
So it's a turkey that you can't recommend.
Correct.
And
I walked out on it because sitting in the food court and people watching would have been more entertaining.
Yeah. Just because something is faithful, by the way, doesn't necessarily mean it's good.
True.
Hey, I could never get through the book, so.
Well, thank you, James. Thanks for sharing.
Sean?
Okay. Well, here's one. Here's a very recent film that my wife and I just saw. And, God, this was disappointing. I think I've said this many times, where I am a fan and a defender of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In general, I love it. I mean, even there's some weaker ones, and there's but I generally love the franchise.
There's some big filmmakers that might disagree with you, but I'm on your side, Sean. I'm on your side.
I know, right? But we just recently saw Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Really, really disappointing.
Really?
The first Marvel film. I mean, I would say that Captain Marvel was a film that I could take it or leave it. Like that movie didn't have to exist, though.
No, that's a terrible movie.
No, it is not a terrible movie.
Captain Marvel?
Yes, Captain Marvel.
I didn't think it was terrible. I just thought it was completely unnecessary.
It's terrible.
Well, then you would hate Spider-Man: Far From Home.
The best part of that movie is the Nick Fury stuff.
Yeah, he's great.
In-
What about
Captain
when she's
Marvel.
in space and she has the mohawk?
Horrible.
I loved it.
Wow.
What, do you don't like joy? You
No,
don't like
I
happiness?
do like joy.
You don't like women in space.
No, I love women in space and I love joy. Those are two things. If you read my autobiography,
mohawks.
two chapters in that.
You don't like mohawks.
One is entitled Joy and Women in Space.
And the only thing I'm going to say is she should have had that mohawk in the last Avengers
Oh, right.
film.
Can I
Okay,
say
sure.
this? The problem with that movie, the biggest problem is her.
No,
She's awful.
No, she's wonderful.
Terrible.
No,
I thought she was
Why do you
okay,
hate?
but not-
I love her.
Why do you hate acting? You hate acting.
She's a great actress.
You hate acting.
She's an Academy Award nominee, sir.
I don't care.
Oh, you don't care?
Yeah, she's terrible in this.
Can I get back to my review?
Sean.
Shut up. Anyway,
Sean, I am so. I
Go ahead,
apologize.
go ahead, go ahead.
Please.
First of all,
what is it?
Spider-Man: Homecoming, I liked a lot.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Me too.
although I had my problems, I think you
it was
agree
not a
with
perfect
them.
movie, but but I still enjoyed it. Spider-Man: Homecoming is like this kind of. First of all, it takes place after Endgame, so it's like, why are they making another Marvel superhero film right after Endgame? How about we just rest for a little bit after what happened in that movie?
Yeah,
There's no resting.
You know,
in
they've
the
made
film
$18
business.
trillion. They can take a break. So this takes place kind of like right after that. So there's references to the mourning, the death of all the people who passed away in
Sure,
Endgame, right?
sure.
So this is, but the problem with this film, Far From Home, is first of all, it's a rehash of so many other concepts. I'm not going to give too much away, but it's yet again another villain who is a disgruntled Stark Industries guy who wants to get back and get glory with new technology.
Which is not the original character.
No, right. But it's also yet again rehashing Peter Parker going on a field trip with his classmates, just like they did in Homecoming. And Jake Gyllenhaal is the main guest character.
He's Mysterio.
Yeah, he's Mysterio. They have an interesting idea of what they do with Mysterio, and the beginning of this kind of like technology that's taking place in the film is kind of interesting. Then they go too far with. I can't give it away if you haven't seen it, but they go too far with this concept where it's like, wait a minute, I don't believe this. This is not believable at all. And Nick Fury in the film is kind of like a bumbling idiot.
No.
But then they do something at the very end of the film which kind of explains that. And that's even like, what the fuck? What are they doing? Like, it just really didn't work for me. There, as in a lot of these films, there are individual sequences and moments that are great.
Right.
There's some good stuff. There's some good stuff with Peter and Mary Jane. They kind of try to move that forward a little bit. But it's so much familiar territory from other Marvel films. And the main villain threat and his plan, when you step back and think about it, it's ludicrous. It's just like, I don't know why they...
This was bound to happen, though, don't you think?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I said, even though I wasn't crazy about Captain Marvel, I didn't hate it, but this movie was more just so disappointing because Spider-Man is one of probably my favorite Marvel character, and other studios have fucked up Spider-Man movies so badly. And I thought once he appeared in Civil War, I was like, oh, this is so great.
Yeah.
I was so glad he's home.
He is terrific.
Great Tom Holland is great as Peter Parker, and I liked Homecoming. But this one's like, I was just like, why'd they ruin it? Like, it wasn't necessary. And it's just, it's just a shame.
Everything, they feel that they need to link everything to everything else.
Yes, and they do that a lot in this one. Again, kind of unnecessary. And like, I don't mind that sometimes.
Sometimes.
That's why I like the Doctor Strange film. I thought that stood alone.
Oh,
it didn't
I
connect.
loved
It didn't too much connecting with all the. It didn't have to. It
I mostly
existed-
liked it.
Yeah, it existed by itself though, without all these references
Right.
for the most part to the rest of the universe. But yeah, this one was just really disappointing. I mean, there's some cool action sequences, of course. The effects are cool, but like overall, like by the end of it, you're like, what was that? And like just unnecessary. I know they have big plans for like the next phase of their films, but I think they should have given it a rest and not done this one.
Sean, this was the one that I did not get a chance to see, and I remember seeing, Jake Gyllenhaal's in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's interesting. I don't know about this character, and I wanted to see it. So now you're telling me, as a turkey goes, are you saying you're recommending
To me,
it?
it's the first genuine MCU turkey. In my opinion.
Wow.
Okay, but as turkeys go, are you saying,
Well, look, if you're an MCU completist and you're a real fan, maybe you should see it just to see it. I'm really curious. Like, I don't know what they're planning to do. Like after this, there's, like I said, there's an element. You know how all these movies, that movie ends, the credits start, Then they have like a little mini sequence in the middle of the credits.
Yes.
And then they do one at the very, very end.
Yes. Right.
The one at the very, very end is the one that's like, what are you talking about? It just didn't make any sense to me. So anyway, I don't know. It's very, very just so disappointing.
It's so sad because there's a missed opportunity here because a lot of the MCU stuff, you could tell is borrowing or taking from the Ultimate Marvel Universe.
Right.
And what I really loved in that whole series was Ultimate Spider-Man, because what they did is they took Peter Parker and they made him a kid again.
Right.
And so many issues go by until he even gets on the radar of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Right.
And what you do is you get to see him as this bumbling kid who's trying to work it all out and trying to be a superhero and what that means and his responsibilities to his homework, all the stuff that we loved in the original Spider-Man comic books.
Right.
And I'd love to see that again, done from a younger kid's perspective. Like in the Ultimate Spider-Man series, there's a scene where there's a character named Black Cat. And Black Cat is like the Catwoman to his Batman. And there's a flirtation, just like in the Batman comics, that's going on with him and Black Cat. And so there's a scene where at some point he unmasks and she looks at him and goes, "Oh my God, you're a kid." And it's done.
Right.
And I love that. I think that's great. And I'd love to see moments like that are a little more tethered to reality. And then, as you were saying, the same story template over and over again.
Yeah.
The same beats. Enough with Stark.
There's tons of Stark technology.
Give him a
stuff in
regular
this.
costume again.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, there's the whole thing where he gets this new Stark technology. And that's one thing that I think I agreed with you about in Homecoming is, what did he have to Stark out with his costume? That's not Spider-Man. So
I don't want two Iron Mans.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So that's a disappointing turkey. Very disappointing.
Well, speaking of costumes, my next turkey deals with costumes. And this film that I'm going to bring up is a film that when I first saw it, I hated it.
Ooh.
And it is considered in the franchise to be one of the worst films, and it was considered a turkey. However, I have changed my opinion about this as time has progressed because people have they have showed me different ways to look at the film. And I'm talking about Godzilla's Revenge.
Oh, yeah.
Also known as All Monsters Attack.
Right.
So this is a film from 1969, and I remember seeing this as a kid and go, wait a minute, well, let me just step back.
I see where it comes from. Yep.
So the film follows this little boy who seems to get bullied at school, and what he does, he kind of goes into this imaginary world where he imagines himself being on Monster Island and befriending Minya-san, baby, or also known as Baby Tad, Godzilla's son. And this is the one where you hear Minya-san go, "Hey, over here, how are you?"
That's a good impression.
Well, I mean, we all do it. We all do it.
That's better than your James Mason impression. When you do Minya impression's better.
Thank you, Sean. But
my name's Minya.
but the thing that bugged me as a kid is they use footage from other Godzilla films.
Yep.
Except there's a sequence where Minya-san encounters the bully monster, and that's Gabra, who has a terrible, evil laugh. Yeah, very good,
That's
Sean.
very good.
Yeah, very good.
I love that monster.
And the funny thing is, as a kid watching it, it used to make me angry. I felt like they're ripping me off. But the weird thing is we did an episode with director and screenwriter John Fasano, who was on the Japanese Godzilla show with Matt and I years ago. And John had pointed out that, he said, "Larry, that's one of my favorite films because, look, as a kid, it taught me to stand up to bullies." And I never thought about that. I saw the film from a different perspective. And then he started to explain about the film, how the film actually saved his life. He said, "Look, I realized he was one of these funky kids. He wore the funky glasses. He carried a briefcase to school,
or spandex.
He did. That was me. But he was picked on, and from that film he learned to stand up to these bullies, and he did.
And I think the first time I saw Godzilla's Revenge, same thing when I was a little kid on television.
What the hell is this?
Yeah, and I reacted the same way because I was like, it's just stupid. Like, Son of Godzilla doesn't talk, and I recognize the stock footage from other movies too. But as years went on, I realized that movie, it stuck with me.
Same here,
and
Sean.
It's so
I agree.
odd. I know we've talked about this before, but how the lonely kid's life in this like polluted, filled urban city,
Industrial.
He lives with just like a guardian or an uncle, not with his parents.
His mom and dad have these day jobs.
Yeah, they're never around.
And they're never around. So then you got the strange neighbor that kind of looks after
and
him.
The bully kids and that stuff resonated with me actually more than the Godzilla stuff.
Yeah,
and it does make sense. Like it's when you think about it, especially as an adult. You go, oh, it's a kid's fantasy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, I was, can't this gonna be like Godzilla? Destroy all monsters. Or Monster Zero. No, it was a completely different track that they went on. But again, as I've said this before, and every franchise that does something different from each succeeding film, I like. You look at Godzilla's Revenge and look at the Smog Monster, look at Destroy Monsters. They're all completely different movies,
and it's a great kids film.
Well,
yes, it is.
The funny thing about this is. This was, believe it or not, after John and I had this encounter, this was the first Godzilla film I showed to my daughter because she was 5 at the time.
That's correct.
And the funny thing is, we watched it together, and my daughter loved it. Not only did she love it, she started to draw pictures of Monster Island, which I have framed, and it has pictures of her on the island with little Minya's son.
That's awesome.
And so, of course, I had to get her. I actually brought this. This is her toy.
Nice.
I brought her little
Bandai.
Minya son. Yeah, little Bandai Minya son.
I love that.
But we bonded over this, and it taught her again through John showing me that look, it taught her to stand up to bullies too, and she's
and gangsters.
yes. She know what to do now.
Yes, to be clever.
Right.
So look, I think if you're a Godzilla fan, many Godzilla fans who I've talked to, they've said, "Oh, Godzilla's Revenge, that's my least favorite." But I wanted to say to you, take another look at it.
Yeah,
yes,
I've
it's
learned to
goofy,
appreciate that as an adult.
So I have learned, like Sean said, I have learned to appreciate it. But in the Godzilla world, it was considered a turkey in the franchise. But I now have an affection for it.
I mean, ironically, as a kid, I didn't like the Godzilla film that was made for kids.
Right,
now, as
I
an
know,
adult,
that's funny.
I totally appreciate it.
Sean,
I know, that's
totally.
Weird. Yeah.
James, you're a Godzilla expert. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I was always freaked out by the opening titles, which is this freaky
Weird music. Yeah,
I love the
that.
music.
But not what was shown in the Japanese version, which was like it was all geared to kids, but
And
it was
kids
a
singing, right?
vocal. It was like a weird vocal.
Fight.
Which just makes it even better. It's so
Now,
weird.
yes, now you can look at it and but I didn't like it when I was a kid either. And I also didn't like that it was island bound. I mean, there's the stock footage, but
Island
it just
bound.
There was a whole period of island-bound films.
It's in Japan.
I'm talking
It's
about
an island.
Monster Island.
He's not
Island.
stomping on any skyscrapers. That's
true.
not as fun.
Okay.
It's
True.
like Godzilla versus Ebera or Son of Godzilla when it's all just trees and caves and
Megalon, even by the time they get to the major fight, it's just a big.
It's in a field.
Yeah.
But I will say this: if you think about it, it is a story about a father and son, and how he teaches his son, to stand up to.
Well, that would be
bullies.
more Son of Godzilla.
Well, yeah,
That's
well,
true.
yeah,
That's
yes,
true.
but
Yeah.
there
There's
are
still
elements
both.
of it
Yeah.
in Godzilla.
You look at it now, and all the cheap, tawdry, even creepy qualities are endearing. And very unique. Unless you count maybe Smog Monster, because that's also got the industrial polluted landscape.
Yes, but Gabara
Yeah, you can.
is also a really great design.
Yeah, and one of the truly genuinely scary Toho kaiju.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as a kid, it definitely freaked me out. But like, he's just plain mean.
Not only is he mean, he's one of the few monsters that doesn't have a tail.
That's right.
And he's got some kind of red hair.
He got a little tuft of hair. Yeah, he's
And a horn.
sporting it. Yeah,
All
he
the
has a
bullies
bizarre
have red
monster.
hair.
No,
creepy.
not all bullies have
I'm
red hair.
kidding.
Come on.
Yeah, that's
He's a
good. That's
ginger.
good.
So anyway, a turkey
That's
in
a
the
good one.
Godzilla
That's
world.
good.
Okay.
Good one, yeah.
I like that.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
I like that a lot because you brought up John Fasano.
I did.
And it's interesting because there's a movie that I like and I recognize all its flaws, but I still kind of enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And I've watched it a number of times and I'm like, oh, that makes no sense. But it still works on certain levels. And it's one that was actually co-written by John Fasano.
No.
How do you like that?
Amazing.
It's a movie called Darkness Falls.
Darkness Falls.
2003, directed by Jonathan Liebesman, stars Emma Caulfield, and back in like the 1800s, there was this woman who lived in this small town called Darkness Falls, Matilda Dixon. And all the townspeople loved her. And she would give kids, when they lost their teeth, she would give them some sort of money or treat or something.
Oh.
And then there's a fire in her house that disfigures her face and makes her sensitive to light. And so now she wears a white porcelain mask. And 2 kids are reported missing, and the townsfolk unjustly blame her and put her to death. But she curses them. Now, this begins the legend of the Tooth Fairy, who comes to take your last baby tooth. But if you see her, you're marked for vengeance.
No.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
It is cool. And years later, this kid who was terrorized by this character as a child comes back to his town, and this girl that he's into and her brother are being terrorized by this creature.
Okay.
And so when you're fighting this, and they call the character, of course, the Tooth Fairy.
I think that's one of the alternate titles too, isn't it?
Well,
Just
no,
the
Tooth Fairy is, I think, a different movie.
Oh, okay.
But whenever you're in light of any kind, the creature can't come near you. So there's a lot of battles throughout this film where they're trying to, maintain a little oasis of light to keep them safe from the Tooth Fairy. But, the light will go out, or the power will be out in the building, or something like that. And so the problems with the movie is that a lot of those rules are played fast and loose, and you see the inconsistencies. And the more that you watch the film, I've watched it a few times, the more blaring they get.
Okay.
But the pacing is good, and there's a certain amount of fun in this film. Can I say that it's a great movie? No. But it is kind of a guilty pleasure.
Okay.
And, the fact that it's, hey, one of our friends worked on it.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah, some of the tension in the movie is done well, and I would say it's worth at least guilty pleasure viewing.
So as turkeys go, it's a turkey, but it's a turkey that you'd recommend.
I would say so. Yes.
Is this a turkey that you'd recommend, like over wine and dinner, or is
I would-
this,
With
is
cranberry
this a pop,
sauce?
Is
I
this
would
a
say
popcorn?
I think once again I would say this is a post tryptophan. You're on the couch.
Right.
You've popped that button of your pants.
Right.
every night.
I don't want to know.
Mine's
I don't wanna
unbuttoned
know
right
anymore.
now.
I don't want to know anymore. That's now I'm freaked. I don't like it at all. But yeah, this is the winding down part of the night. And you go, hey, you
okay.
know what? Guess what's on? It's a perfect movie that you would watch because it's on.
Right.
I would feel bad if I said, go find it.
Yeah.
But if it sneaks up on you in an alley,
Yeah, like the Tooth Fairy.
yeah.
If you're hiding in an oasis of light, check out the Tooth Fairy.
Okay. All right.
Actually, the movie's called Darkness Falls.
Darkness Falls.
Darkness Falls.
Okay. Cool title.
The novel that got me into Stephen King was The Stand. Loved it. And then I read everything by King after that. And for years, I waited for an adaptation. And in 1994, it was adapted for television by Mick Garris. And with some flaws, I actually thought he did a pretty good job of a very ambitious project.
It's a big book.
And it was like a mini series, right?
It was a miniseries, yeah. 3 years later, he adapts a faithful version of The Shining.
Mick Garris?
Mick Garris.
Yeah.
So we're talking
Now,
about The Shining.
The Shining, again, a television miniseries starring Stephen Weber, Rebecca De Mornay, and young actor named Cortland Mead as young Danny.
I like Rebecca De Mornay.
Oh, she's awesome. Now,
Never saw this. Was it?
It's on his turkey list, Sean.
turkey
Yeah.
list. Famously, Kubrick's version was not all that faithful to the novel, and King had
Right.
problems with it, and maybe a lot of King purists had problems with it. Part of the problem with the miniseries is that by the time it was made, the Kubrick film was already iconic.
Right.
It's hard to accept any other actors in that story, and even though in the novel there were topiary animals that moved.
Yes, the maze.
and that
yeah.
was faithfully recreated for the miniseries.
Unfortunately.
Well, the problem is it just doesn't work, and you can't help but be reminded of the Kubrick version.
Right.
And the kid who plays Danny is, frankly, I mean, it's horrible to say this, but he's kind of a creepy looking kid. It's just, the Danny Torrance in the Kubrick version was, he was a cute kid.
Yeah, he's a cute kid.
And
And you felt for him.
And you felt for him. This one, there's just something about him. He may be a good actor.
You want to keep him outside, though.
It just doesn't connect. And again, Steven Weber's no Nicholson.
Right.
Yeah. He's lots of people.
Right.
He's hardly a Steven Weber.
Come on.
It's even for King purists who love the novel. There might be some satisfaction in seeing it faithfully recreated like that, but it's just...
Well, it's interesting you said it, like how, the movie had become so iconic. That's why I'm kind of curious now about Dr. Sleep, which is getting some decent reviews, but like that, I wonder how much that depends on the nostalgia of the, because I hear that it's more a sequel to the Kubrick version of The Shining as it.
Well, it has to be.
Yeah, than it is to.
It's the same carpet.
Right. But but I'm just curious, how that is.
I don't know. I read an interview with the director who said that he felt he needed to have it both ways, to be faithful to the novel, but also to the film that's in everybody's mind.
Right.
Remind me about this version that you're talking about. The topiary animals, are they CGI?
Yeah.
Okay.
90s CGI.
90s
Not
CGI.
good.
And when I think about that scene, there is a way to do that creepy, and I would do it the way that the angels are done in Doctor Who.
Right.
Where
don't
every
actually
time
show them
move. You don't see them move. You just turn.
And they've already moved.
You turn your head and they're there.
Blink.
Next thing you know, they're a little closer.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
James, I do want to ask. I mean, because you are a King expert. I look at you as a King expert.
Well,
you've read the book
of this table.
Yes.
Right.
You've read the book. You know what it's all about. Was McGarris
You read
faithful
a
to the
book?
book? Come on.
Well, King wrote the screenplay. Yeah.
Well, okay.
I mean, it's
Okay.
And so just visually or just the
But
story?
like you say, sometimes the written word in novel doesn't necessarily work to be literally translated to a film, right?
Of King adaptations, one of the most faithful was Firestarter. That was almost
Really?
word for word that novel. Awful film. So being faithful doesn't necessarily mean success.
Well, that's the thing with Kubrick, is that he managed to capture the feel of the novel, I felt.
Yeah.
Right.
If not, beat for
Literal
beat plot
right.
points.
Right. And so for an adaptation that some fans might have been disappointed in back in the beginning, it's like, well, years later, you can sort of reappraise it.
Right.
Especially in light of a faithful adaptation that's frankly just not all that interesting.
I'm still waiting for a really good Salem's Lot.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so as turkeys go, the Shining TV series is a turkey that,
to me, yeah.
and you can't necessarily recommend.
I would not recommend it.
But if you're a purist, would you recommend it? Or
I think if you're a purist, you've already seen it.
okay,
Right.
should I move on from it then? Should I just not bother?
Don't bother.
Okay,
It's like 4 or 6 hours you can save, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
rather listen to Monster Party episodes.
Of which this one might be 4 or 6 hours. Okay, Sean, next.
No, it won't be.
Okay, this is a true turkey in every sense of the word. I do really enjoy it, though. It's so entertainingly bad. This is a movie probably not many people have heard of. It's from 1969. It's called The Mummy and the Curse of the Jackal.
Wow.
Sean, I've never heard of this. No, seriously.
Did they take 2 movies and combine them?
Double feature?
It's the Mummy and the Jackal? Wait,
Mummy and the Curse of the Jackal.
the Curse of the Jackal.
Anthony Isley is in this. John Carradine, of course.
Of course.
This is like the most poverty-stricken film. Apparently, this was directed by a very old director who was maybe possibly senile at the time, according to Anthony Isley, talking about this film. Anthony Isley plays this like archaeologist who has brought back this sarcophagus. 2 sarcophaguses. One has like an Egyptian princess and one has another like regular mummy in it. And the Egyptian princess comes to life and she's this kind of beautiful princess and she puts a curse on Anthony Isley and turns him into not a werewolf, but a jackal man. With a very...
How's it look?
It's a cheap rubber mask.
no.
It's pretty bad. And so he turns him into a jackal man to kind of like be her slave. And meanwhile, the mummy also comes to life. This mummy has like, it's all covered in bandages on his face, but has like 1 ping pong ball eye sticking out, and he's quite fat or out of shape. And the jackal man and the mummy fight. And there's a scene where it's shot in Las Vegas. And the highlight of the movie is this guy running around in a rubber Jackal Man mask and a portly mummy fighting on the Sunset Strip. They're really fighting on the Sunset Strip, and onlookers looking by, laughing and pointing at them as they're
sounds
fighting.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's pretty
sounds really
hilarious.
interesting.
It's pretty hilarious. And the movie has this like kind of a constant surf kind of bongo music playing in it.
Okay.
It's really bizarre. John Carradine makes his like obligatory cameo appearance as the Egyptian expert. He tells him, "Oh, these bandages or this wound's left bandages of mold on, and like must be a mummy." And it's really, really terrible. But it's pretty entertaining. It's not available like on any official format. It's like on VHS if you have to find it.
You have to go to the guy's house.
Yes.
The estate.
It's really bad, but it is really entertaining. There's like a scene where the mummy breaks into like a strip joint and he's attacking strippers, and it's really
This sounds
bad.
amazing.
It's pretty entertaining. A true turkey though, in the truest form.
Okay.
But for turkey completists, you should
like
check it
it.
out. Yeah.
Okay, well that's a good turkey.
Okay.
Now I'm probably going to get chastised here for this next film that I bring up. It's when you're watching television,
Star Wars.
No.
ahead.
But when you're watching television, Matt, you're flipping through the channels, you come across a movie and you go, "Oh, I remember when that film came out."
Yeah.
And you didn't see it, and you start to watch it, and then you get sucked into it.
Sure.
And you go, this film isn't too bad. And that's kind of what happened with this next film, that
Okay.
it was considered a turkey, and I know you probably hate it.
Okay.
But I've watched it and I've actually grown to enjoy it.
All right.
And it's from 2011, the movie called Real Steel. This is with Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Oh.
This is about the
fighting robots.
Fighting robots.
I have not seen that.
And
I think my wife saw that and enjoyed it.
Really?
I have
I have
seen
not
it.
seen it.
I think it's something that, first of all, it involves sports, which I know you hate.
Boxing. I like boxing.
You like boxing?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's robots boxing,
Yeah.
right?
Think of as a rock'em sock'em robots. Okay. So imagine, if you will, there's this old boxer who were actually sports like football, baseball. No one's into that anymore. And boxing, no one cares. But people are really into like the robots going at it and beating the crap out of each other. It's turned into a big thing. And there's an old boxer who, he feels he can try to make back money by getting a robot and teaching the robot how to box. And the dilemma is his ex-wife dies, and he has to take care of his son. His sister wants to take him. It's like, maybe the kid can help me over the summer put together this robot. And they put together a robot. It doesn't win. But they go to this scrapyard, they find this other robot, and the little boy helps build the robot back up. And what happens is, essentially, Hugh Jackman's boxing moves helps the robot kind of go into these rounds with other robots, and he starts winning. And so
this is based on the Richard Matheson story, Steel, which was done as a
Twilight Zone episode, which I thought was really neat.
Lee Marvin, I think.
Yeah,
isn't it,
yeah,
right?
Lee Marvin.
Yeah.
Exactly. You remember that one?
I like that episode.
Yeah, it's cool. But
And he ends up becoming, he gets inside the shell of the robot.
No. See, it's not like Robo Jocks where you climb into
no.
like
I'm just saying,
it's like
the Twilight Zone one, he gets it
Yes,
and puts it
right.
on.
Yes,
Because the robot breaks down.
Yeah, but that's not in this film. Okay. And so what essentially happens is his moves, the robot kind of mimics his moves kind of thing. And that's what he does. And what they do, the thing that bugs me a little bit is, it's like, now what happens is you're controlling the robot, essentially. You're controlling the robot to fight. And so it's basically you and another person battling each other.
It's like
with
Robot
these,
Wars.
Yeah.
And
Or
Pacific Rim, too.
yeah, or Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
So the opponent on the other side also has someone that's controlling it.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Do they control it in different ways? Because I remember seeing in the trailer, it's like the robot is mirroring the moves that Hugh Jackman is doing.
It's a combination of stuff. But the thing is, however fast or however, basically it's two opponents with these two robots and they're battling it out. It's not just the robot goes in there and, hey, it's all by itself. It's like you're assisting the robot kind of thing.
Right.
But the weird thing about it was, there was something very fun and satisfying about seeing these giant robots battle each other.
Was it considered? Did it not do well in the box office? I
didn't-
don't remember. I remember it kind of came and went. It was on like cable.
It did.
when
I mean, we think of Hugh Jackman as, look, it's the Wolverine, or hey, here's the guy from what's the music?
Trog. Yeah, the Greatest Showman.
Yes, The Greatest Showman.
Right, right.
or Les Miserables. That's the other one that he did. But it's one of those films that I didn't want to see it when it came out, Sean, but when I caught it on television, it's like, oh, this is. You know what? I'm going to watch.
Well, he's
this.
always good,
and it's yes,
Yeah.
But it was fun. It is considered to be
like
kind
of a kids movie.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It is considered to be a bit of a turkey, but it's a fun turkey. And I would say to you, sir,
to
Matt,
watch it.
No, I'm saying if you've got that tryptophan in you, you've had that turkey, you've loosened that button and the zipper, perhaps.
Now the pants are off.
Sitting there in the underwear.
And you're swirling it. You're shaking it around in the window because you've had too much wine.
So if the zipper is down a little bit because your belly is budging,
you're just
and you've
bursting
got
at the
that last little glass of wine, and you put it on, or you find it, you go, oh, Real Steel is on. Hey, family, let's watch it together. It's fun.
Wow.
So as turkeys go,
All right.
that's a turkey I'd recommend.
Saving Thanksgiving with Real Steel. I like it.
All right.
There you go.
I do.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I've got a different post-tryptophan offering for you.
Okay.
More in the realm of, I think, where Sean and I live in our real lives.
Okay.
There's a film, and I guess you would call it maybe a science fiction, fantasy. It's a character that was created by Sax Rohmer, who did Fu Manchu.
Oh, yeah.
And this film is called The Million Eyes of Sumeru.
Oh yeah, I just recently watched that.
Yeah.
actually.
And it's terrible, but it's also hilarious.
Yes.
And there's lots of hot girls. And what it really is that Sumeru is basically just a female Fu Manchu.
Right.
How do you spell that? S-U... Is it S-U-E?
It's S-U-M-U-R-U.
Yep.
Sumeru. Yeah. And this is a 1967 British film, so 67. I mean, perfect timing for all the fashions.
And this was produced by Harry Alan Towers. He did all the Fu Manchu films.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So Sumeru she's the Fu Manchu character of this series, and she's played by Shirley Eaton.
Oh, yeah.
And it also features Frankie Avalon, George Nader, and Klaus Kinski.
Wow.
Really? Wilford Hyde-White.
Yeah, as President Boong.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
It's
but
ridiculous.
fun.
Let me just set the table for you, because we're talking about a Thanksgiving meal. I'm going to set the meal up for you. Wow. So in the beginning of the film, you've got these women going into Sumeru's headquarters. And they go in, and you see all these women. They're all sitting around like in a circle. And you hear grunting. You hear, and the women are just looking downward at something. And you hear this, and you're like, what is it? Is someone having sex? Or what's going on? These women are just passively, mildly enjoying it, but they're just watching. And you cut to what they're looking at. And there's this hot brunette who's got this guy in like a scissor hold with her legs.
Their thighs.
Her thighs, yeah. And she's just crushing this guy's neck. And he's like, And then Sumeru's second in command comes in. And the one who's got the guy in the scissor hold is like, should I show him mercy? No.
No.
And that's how it starts.
That's how I want to die.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I you know, like in Soylent Green,
Yeah.
where you go to die at the end?
Right.
That's the room I would have asked for.
Yes.
Sumeru.
Yeah, it's like, look,
me the
I love
Sumeru.
classical music and Antelope, and
I like thighs
I'd
better.
rather have my neck cracked by evil Amazon lady. And it's so great. And so the rest of the movie is really just more of that. It's just.
It's lots of George Nader and Frankie Avalon running around swinging with chicks. And
Oh yeah,
like,
no,
it's
there's
like
a lot.
very, yeah.
Like the next scene is everybody meeting in this bar, and it's and there's like 40-year-old guys like go dancing with some girls,
Yeah.
and it's hilarious. And the plot is Sumeru and her
Taking
organization.
over the world.
They're trying to take over the world and replace male world
Yeah.
leaders.
Men are our enemies.
Yeah, and everyone is hot.
Yeah.
Sounds
So it's
awesome.
Shirley Eaton, who looks, we know her, of course, from Goldfinger as a blonde man. She looks great
Yeah.
as a brunette, too,
She's
though.
great
She
as
is
a
Wow.
great.
brunette.
She's got that great steely, cold...
She does a very good job in this role.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you know there's a sequel?
And that was Jess Franco, right?
Just Franco, the girl from Rio.
Is that any good?
No. I mean, it's not. There's
no crushing thigh
First of all,
sequence.
it's a Jess Franco film, so that should tell you right there.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, there's very few of his films that I do enjoy. I mean, it has its elements, but it's not it's not in the same style as Sumeru.
Because there is a swinging 60s vibe to that Million Eyes of Sumeru.
Yes.
I loved this, and I can't say that it's a great movie in any way. It's ridiculous. But from that very first scene, I was like, I think this was made just for me.
I can't believe it's not more popular.
Yeah. I found out about it. Once again, I bought the poster.
Oh, really?
No.
Really?
I bought this poster. The poster is beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
wonderful artwork that shows all these scenes, even the scissor hold.
Nice.
No.
Well, they Blue Underground released both films on a Blu-ray.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I need to get
it's
that.
great.
Wow.
Yeah,
I need to get
but
that.
yeah, it's entertaining. That's a
So
good
as
one.
turkeys go,
Oh my. That's
This
like
is a good turkey.
So
hot, delicious turkey.
So now we're post tryptophan.
right?
The pants have come off.
Okay.
You're upstairs. Maybe, you're taking a little nap. There's a TV and you've got the Blu-ray and you're like, you know what? I'm going to let all the family argue about politics downstairs and I'm going to have this private time.
You're gonna have a
for
little
myself.
Sumeru.
A Sumeru vacation.
Nice one, Matt.
Yeah.
Good
Got it.
turkey.
Thank you.
James?
All right. Well, I got a cold turkey.
Because this is going to be like, we're getting to your
right.
hate
This
list.
is hate.
Yeah.
When I visit my dad, he lives down in Florida, we have a tradition where we go to the movies. There's something to do, not much else to do down there. 2011, around Christmas time, we had a choice. Was it going to be The Phantom Menace in 3D, re-release, or
Turkey.
a movie called The Gray
The Gray.
with Liam Neeson? Oh. And the
Wolves?
The trailer made it look like it's this kind of Jack London adventure thing. A little hard to pin down exactly what it is, but sometimes the less you know about a movie, the more pleasantly surprised you can be. So I figure, all right, with my dad, it's kind of a manly thing, all right? So we go see it. It's about these Alaskan oil rig workers that take a plane ride back home, but the plane crashes somewhere in the wild, in the frozen wilderness. And the survivors of the plane crash, they have to trek south to get to civilization. And yes, they attract wolves. And they have to do what they do to survive, but they're not terrifically motivated, these guys. I mean, a couple of them get eaten pretty quickly. And then the ones that survive and have to run realize pretty quickly that it's a losing battle. So suddenly it becomes this kind of existential, well, should we even really bother? And at least one of these characters is like, you know what, I'm just going to sit here and wait for the wolves. And I'm staring at this movie and I'm not only not entertained, but I'm stupefied. It's like, look, I can come up with enough existential thoughts on my own without paying to see it in a fucking movie.
I know.
Yeah, you know, I go dark.
Is it like an action film? Is it? Oh, it's not. So it's more.
No, I don't care about spoiling this because I don't want anybody to see this piece.
Go, man, go.
Only at the very end, when the only one left standing is Liam Neeson, does he face a choice. Am I going to let the wolves just take me or am I going to fight them? And he picks up these little broken the tiny liquor bottles. And he breaks them and he puts them in in his fists to fight with the wolves.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, finally we're going to see somebody fighting back. We're going to see a little bit of action, a little survival. And then it cuts to black and it's the credits. It's like, oh, fuck me.
Wait, whoa, wait a
Bullshit.
minute.
Wow.
Bullshit.
We don't see him fight with the wolf?
No.
Oh,
Because that's not the point of the movie. The point of the
So the point of the movie is not to be entertaining.
evidently. And then,
To root for the wolves.
yeah,
Wow. I mean, I'd heard of this movie, but I didn't know it was that
didn't
kind of
look
a
good.
thing.
Didn't look good at all.
Around this time, Liam Neeson was doing a press junket for the movie, and a reporter sort of challenged him on it. And Liam Neeson got really belligerent and see with the reporter.
Really?
And it's just like, look, dude, you made a really sucky movie. I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
I thought you sure he wasn't going to say, well, in the sequel, I fight the wolf. Is there a sequel?
I should have just seen the sequel.
Or he could have said, well, you could have seen me in Phantom Menace.
Yes, exactly.
It almost
We
sounds
should've-
like Scott of the Antarctic.
Yeah.
Fight the lion.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Giant electric penguin.
That would make me mad.
I was furious.
I am mad What did your dad think?
He hated it too.
Okay.
Wow.
And my
that-
dad's got a different filter too, and it's always interesting going to the movies with him because I went to see Temple of Doom with him,
Yeah.
and he thought that was just as good a movie as Raiders of the Lost Ark. And Last Crusade too. He thinks they're all in the same part, which is great. It's like, oh, you're entertained.
There are some people that are like that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That just watch a movie and it's like, as long as it happened in front of my face,
they're not cinephiles.
it's good.
It's just
It's a different filter,
Right,
and
sure.
I can appreciate that. I even enjoy his enthusiasm, But here we were on the same level.
There was
this movie sucked.
There was a time when I was going to Arkansas and all my in-laws, my father-in-law and Carrie's stepmother and that whole side of the family, we'd all meet. And, we'd stay there for maybe 5 days or something. One day we go to a movie and there's this one little movie theater where they lived. And so, you had the choice of one movie or another, and both of them usually blew. Yeah. But I don't know. There were so many films that we saw there where, the lights came up and everybody's like, that was good. What a piece of shit. Like Lone Ranger, I think we saw. It's like, how do you even argue? The Tarzan movie, that one with the most recent one that they did.
Skarsgård?
Skarsgård,
yeah.
Which was terrible.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? But we forget that there's a whole group of people out there who just go to the movies and just want to have fun.
It's like
and
the
they
same as
go
like
with it.
same as like just eating a sandwich. It's just there.
It's a
They're
sandwich.
hungry.
I'm hungry. This is
Right.
food. I'm eating it.
Right.
Well, but
Right.
I always try to look at a film through a different pair of eyes in a way. I mean, I try to find the
You do.
positive aspects.
You do, Larry.
I mean, like when we talked about Macamee, I have never got up and walked out of a theater, no matter how bad the film was.
I don't
because
think I have either.
my attitude was,
You paid for it.
Well, yeah.
yes. But the other thing, too, is perhaps I could learn something from this film, that no one goes out of their way to make a bad film.
I have walked out on King Kong Lives, Batman and Robin, Escape from L.A.
These are all, I think, good ones to walk out of.
Yes.
Yeah, because after the first few minutes, it's just like,
kinda know,
this
yeah.
is it.
Don't you
This
think
is
you
it.
might have missed out if you stayed with it? Maybe it could have redeemed
no.
itself.
Let me ask you, have you ever walked out of something before the movie started?
I can't make that claim. No, have you?
I have.
have you
I
ever-
have.
Wait, Matt, you have walked out of a film before it started?
Yes. It
You
was.
paid for it, and then
I paid for it. It was one of the Child's Play sequels. I can't remember which one. But my girlfriend at the time, I convinced her she didn't like horror movies. So I was like, hey, do me a favor. Let's just go to one. And, it's my birthday or whatever. And so we go, and it's this movie. And we go in, and I don't know, maybe it was just the wrong showing at the wrong theater. But it was like every hooligan in the city
Right.
was having their summit.
Right.
Yeah.
And
They came to see
they were
Chucky.
almost like tearing up the screen before the movie started.
Wow.
And I just walked in, looked at everyone, and went, "Oh no,
Yeah.
no, we're not going to do this."
No, I understand that.
Yeah. And we ended up seeing another movie, and it wasn't. I don't think it was a horror movie, but
That's more that- yeah.
Because I do get annoyed when people are talking in a movie that's supposed to be serious.
Sure.
That I want to see, and to some people, maybe a Chucky movie isn't necessarily serious to them, but to me, it is.
Did you ever walk
Right.
into a movie theater and you're the only person in the theater? And they show the movie anyway, and you're looking around. It's like, really? They showed it just.
I have where like there's like maybe two other people.
Two, yeah.
Yeah.
That happened to me.
I remember watching a movie theater clear as the movie was going, because I walked out of Free Enterprise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then everybody else in the theater followed me.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
See, we're
Literally,
we
that
happened.
For listeners who have been with us for a while, we talked about this. I saw that film in a packed theater, and the crowd loved it, and we laughed and we applauded. And
I went with Dana and Rob Cohen. And I think it was Ken Daly.
Oh wow!
we were
film
watching-
cinephiles. Hey,
Wow.
Gina and I saw it with William Shatner there.
Wow.
Did
he walk out?
Spoke before the movie, and then he left. I mean, but I don't know.
what do you mean? He left? I
I mean,
mean,
it was a premiere, and it was the filmmakers are there. And
yeah,
he was
he's not
there to talk
expected
about
to
the movie.
stay
No,
for his
no,
film.
no.
You know, come on.
What? I would think he would.
No.
I saw Planet of the Apes with
Charlton Heston?
and he stayed.
Well, that's
all
great.
the way through.
That's
I'm sure he's seen that film quite a few times.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I'm not mad at Shatner for leaving because I remember
mad at
him,
Shatner for other
No,
reasons.
I saw an interview with him, and actually the producer said that Shatner loved it. He loved the opportunity to be in
had
that
a good
film.
time.
He had a
Sure
great
it did.
time.
Well, it lionized him. Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was not working for me.
Okay,
And
well-
it ended up not working for everybody else in that theater.
Okay, yeah. Here in
watched
here in
them all.
Hollywood, all the film snobs.
know.
This is not.
Why
yeah.
was film snobs because we don't like a movie that you liked?
It was a great film. It was fun.
You can't
I
just,
laughed.
what are you fucking? You talk about film snob?
No, I'm not a film snob.
Like,
I
what
go
are
and
you, like, I have decided.
Well, this has been fulfilling, hasn't it?
It has.
I feel my.
I think it's been filling.
Everybody's
Like a
everybody
turkey
unbuttoned
meal.
their
yeah,
pants.
my button
Right.
is undone here. And,
I've unbuttoned all my buttons. Every one of them.
This actually has
I've
been
unbuttoned James's buttons.
Oh, it is Thanksgiving. We have a lot to give thanks
giving
for.
thanks.
James, what were you saying there?
This has actually been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
You're talking about the films that you hated and the films that you walked out on.
cathartic.
It's venting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm purging
cathartic.
all my hatred.
True.
Yeah, you
Okay.
got it out.
So should we do like a kind of like a little quick?
Let's do a lightning
Lightning
round.
round.
All right.
Lightning round.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Ready? Here's a couple.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, you do two,
All right. 2. Okay.
and I'm going to do.
Let him just
I'll
do
2 or 3 maybe. I'll be
Johnny
fast.
rules over here.
Okay.
I just want to be fair.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair.
You do as many as you want, Larry. We'll do as many as we want.
Fine.
Right.
Because this is now no longer a lightning round.
That's true.
Go ahead, John. Do as many as you want.
Okay. This is a film that actually my wife and I discovered the first time on Mystery Science Theater. And it's a great way to watch it with that version, but either way, it's ridiculous and hilarious. This is from 1988, a sci-fi movie called Space Mutiny. And Space Mutiny stars Reb Brown, John Philip Law, and Cameron Mitchell.
No.
And this is a super cheap jack sci-fi adventure with there's like a mutiny on a spaceship and there's aliens and things and it's ridiculous. And all the stock footage of the exterior spaceship is from Battlestar Galactica.
No.
All of it. And all the interiors are shot like in one of those like industrial, factories where,
Sure,
where you can
right.
see above, you can see like the windows with the sky shining in. It's so
In the
terrible.
background, you see someone shooting Blake 7.
Yeah, yeah. It is really bad. Rib Brown screams his lines through the
Okay.
whole thing. John Philip Law totally overacts. Cameron Mitchell looks like Santa Claus. Everybody's dressed in like silver lame, spandex futuristic outfits. There's a scene where they do a chase on those, like those bowling alley floor polishers.
Oh, yeah.
There's like a big chase. And one of these things are like made up to look like futuristic little
Bowling
vehicles.
alley Zamboni.
Yeah, kind of like that. It's truly terrible, terribly acted, and it's really hilarious though. Mr. Science Theater version of it is really funny. There's literally a scene where an incidental, like a supporting character, is killed or shot by the bad guy. In like the next scene or the next 2 scenes, there's like other characters walking by and there's people working at their consoles. And that character who was just killed is there at her console working because that's how sloppy the editing was. So
I
bad.
love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
Unbelievable.
It's really bad, but it's really entertaining. Space Mutiny, Reb Brown and Sissy Cameron, who was Reb Brown's and still Reb Brown's wife, I believe. She's in it and she's terrible, but it's just really amusing. It's
Great.
It's a great fun turkey.
I love it.
That's one. I have to also mention Puma Man.
Puma Man.
Puma Man
I don't
is,
know
is
this
an
one.
Italian kind of like a Superman / Close Encounters ripoff with a guy who he's chosen as the supernatural savior of Earth as Puma Man. He's the power of a puma, and he can fly around. He just has like regular
Like the flying
slacks.
pumas do.
Yeah, yeah. The worst flying sequences you've ever seen. Guy just has a cape, and he's just a drab guy. Donald Pleasance is the villain who keeps calling him Puma Man through the entire film. It is so bad. It's terrible.
Great.
One more I'll throw out there. This
Go.
is 1972 Doomsday Machine.
Doomsday Machine.
This was like cheap jack sci-fi movie where a bunch of people are on a spaceship. They're sent on this ship like with like some women and some men because there's this because the government knows that Red China has this doomsday machine that's going to blow up the entire world.
Okay.
So they're on their ship and they see the Earth explode. And so it's them trapped on the spaceship. And Grant Williams is this kind of crazy rapey guy who tries to go after all the women.
I hate rapey guys.
Yeah. And Bobby Van is in it, so you know it's going to be terrible. But the amazing thing about this movie is that it was not finished. So the last third of the film is supposedly the characters, but they're in spacesuits, so you can't see their faces inside this other derelict spaceship, and they're doing something, and the voices are completely different voices. And the movie doesn't end. It's so hard to explain, but I remember seeing this on late night television, and it's like one of those things that you're watching at late night, and the next morning, wait, did I see that, or did I change the channel to a different movie? It makes no sense. They just ran out of money and had this narrator come in at the end and kind of try to explain it. It is so bizarre, but it's kind of enjoyable in a super cheesy, turkey way. Doomsday Machine.
Doomsday
Okay.
Machine.
All right.
Okay. Well, I just want to go out on a big monster kick here. There was a film that came out in 1976, and as a kid, I was so excited for this film because I love big monsters, and I'm talking about the Dino De Laurentiis film King Kong.
Sure.
Okay.
Directed by John Gillerman, starring Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange, who would both go on to win Academy Awards later on in their
But
careers.
not for this.
No, no. And it's funny, Matt, as a kid, I had heard all the stories.
We're all very excited.
The story about this film is mostly going to be shot using a 100-foot tall mechanical ape. I was so excited as a kid. And the cover of Famous Monsters magazine, you actually had Basil Gogos paint a beautiful picture
Love
of King
that
Kong for the cover. And then there's the famous picture of King Kong straddling the Twin Towers of New York with jets flying overhead. This looked so exciting. I couldn't wait for this film. As a kid, I saw the film 10 times.
Wow.
Why, you may ask?
Why?
It's because it was...
You love King Kong.
I do. I love King Kong. It is a turkey of a film. As a kid, I liked it. Adults laughed at it. People were upset that the advertisement, it's misleading. Number one, there are no jets that fly over King Kong as he's straddling the Twin Towers. He can't do that. He has to jump from one to the other. Right. The other thing is, it's not a 100-foot tall mechanical gorilla in all these scenes. It's like in less than 30 seconds in the film. Most of it is Rick Baker in his amazing Kong costume and
good suit as gorilla suits
in
go.
1976, I know Rick Baker feels he's embarrassed about it, which he shouldn't. He really, really shouldn't. I think it's wonderful what he did.
He did
back
the best
then.
he could.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And look, Jessica Lange, what I liked is, she's different from Fay Wray. She actually tries to have a conversation with King Kong, where she says, "You male chauvinist pig ape. Oh, I really didn't mean that." I loved all that.
Those parts are kind of good.
Well, as much as I'm a huge fan of the classic, 1933, Fay Wray basically, she screams through the entire thing. She never has some kind of interaction with Kong. It's like, I'm a damsel in distress. Whereas Jessica Lange has this conversation. Now, I'm talking about this, I love it. I have an affection for it. It is considered a turkey. But as turkeys go...
Yeah, when that movie came out, I wasn't thrilled about it, but I've come to appreciate elements of that movie now. I actually do like all the human characters. I like Jeff Bridges. I like Jessica Lange. I like Charles Grodin.
Yeah.
It's weird, but in a way, all the stuff works in that movie except for the special effects and the ape.
Well, and to take a step back, people ask, so is it following the same story? Well, essentially in the classic in 33, basically Carl Denham is going out to find this mysterious thing to make a movie. Whereas in this film, it's like we're trying to find new places to drill oil. I think this island has this, when they get to the island. No,
Makes
it
it
isn't.
timely.
It was in
There's
76.
some kind of nice updates, I think, in a way.
Yeah.
Plus, it was produced by Paramount, which was owned by Gulf Western.
Yes.
That's true.
An oil company.
And a fantastic John Barry score.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's elements that I really like. When it's on, guys, look, I stop what I'm doing and I watch it.
It was kind of derided at the time it came out because there was so much ballyhoo over it.
So much.
And it was bound to disappoint. But I got to be honest, I kind of go back to that Kong more than I do the Peter Jackson Kong.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny.
Overall, I kind of enjoy The Dino De Laurentiis one better.
A lot of people have asked, so they spent all this money on this giant, like 100-foot tall King Kong. Whatever happened? Did Universal Studios put it in an exhibit? No, guys, it was actually sold to like a circus place in South America. It was shipped to South America, and supposedly they put it in this giant tent, and where you could pay a fee and get your pictures with it.
Wow.
The problem was it was making money at first, but then
Rubber.
it started to deteriorate. They started to lose money. They couldn't afford to maintain it. Sadly, that giant Kong was chopped up and it ended up in a landfill.
And I remember in the film, you see that brief shot of it.
Yes.
And it looks like a freaking statue just standing there. It doesn't look anything like the Rick Baker in his suit.
No,
like, it doesn't work.
And then the one element that I love about the classic is all these dinosaurs. And
that's where they really fell short.
Giant snake, and that's it.
The
and
giant
a fake-looking rubber snake.
And it's bothersome. And I wonder. I mean, I know Sean doesn't like lizards and stuff in movies,
Like,
but
what?
But
you mean like live lizards?
Yeah, but I think
correct.
it would have been great. Throw a lizard, throw something other in there other than the snake. But look, it is considered a big turkey, but it is a turkey that I like.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the last one, we have talked about this before. It's from 1957. It's a film I saw as a kid on Creature Features, and I absolutely loved it. And I know Matt hates it, but it's The Monolith Monsters, directed by John Sherwood.
I like it too.
And
I wouldn't say I hate it.
The funny thing is, John Sherwood, just something about Sherwood as a director, this guy was normally a second unit director. He did a lot of second unit directing, but he directed The Creature Walks Among Us, which people forget about. The film is really cool. Granted, the special effects may not be the greatest thing, but there's a meteor that crash lands, and what happens is these crystals or rocks kind of grow as they suck up water, or if there's water in the atmosphere, they suck up and they grow really big, and then the weight of them makes them fall over, and all their pieces start to grow.
And you also petrify people. Get close to it.
And I know Matt is like, oh, exciting rocks, but it's cool to me that
I just don't love it.
Here, it's basically.
Why do you hate rocks?
Yeah, we do not like geology. There's a lot you can learn. But my point is, it's something that you can't deal with, can't rationalize. It's not a live thing.
Right.
And there was something very scary to me about that. But I really enjoyed it. It is considered to be it's like a classic 50s sci-fi film. A lot of people do consider it a turkey. But look, I'd say again, if the button and the zipper is down and you've had the tryptophan, I think it's a fun film.
You're completely naked. You enjoy this movie.
You're completely naked. Watch Monolith Monsters. No. Watch the rocks rise. Yeah, there you go, Sean.
Hey, we're clean.
All right, that's good. I like that.
All right. Here's one that was recommended to me by Sean.
Okay. And you hate it.
I watched it, and the scene that he described was the most entertaining part. Okay. And that is the 2002 film Ghost Ship.
Oh, Ghost Ship.
Yeah. I recommended it to you?
You did.
You said that the beginning sequence is good, where there's all these people are killed on the ship.
Yeah.
There's like a wire.
Yeah.
There's a wire that is made taut and just cuts an entire group of people in half.
Right.
That scene was kind of fun. It's CGI, and you notice the CGI.
Yeah.
But okay. The rest of the movie is the salvage crew that finds this ghost ship. They're going to bring this ship back in and get the money for it. And of course, the ship is haunted, and they find gold on the ship, and there's a mystery of why the gold's there and what happened to the original crew and passengers of the ship. But the problem with this movie is it's never scary whatsoever. And, it's a good cast. You got Gabriel Byrne, Juliana Margulies, and a young Carl Urban. So everybody's okay, but there's a little ghost girl that keeps showing up. She's not scary at all. All the scares are Shining-esque, like they're going for that, because scenes that happened on the ship in the past manifest themselves in front of various members of the salvage crew.
Right.
And you could see that they're trying to do a nice, relatively big budget, glossy horror film, but it's too glossy. It doesn't work.
That's weird. I don't remember this movie. I don't remember recommending this to you. But
you recommended this
scene. I remember
scene.
Death Ship.
Maybe that's what you were describing.
Yeah, Death Ship is the one with George Kennedy, and that's the one I like.
But I thought somebody recommended this scene.
But that's
Well, then I'll take it back. I'll take
Maybe
it
it was
back from
another
you.
guest or somebody was recommending
Maybe,
that. So,
maybe.
yeah.
But it's I made it all the way through.
Someone on social media actually recommended that scene to us.
Is that what? Maybe
That might
that's
have
what
been
it
from
was.
that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sean.
Okay, no,
I owe you an apology.
I'm glad I'm not going crazy because that sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't remember. Yeah.
So you have a number of scenes where the ghostly members of the crew come back and interact with the crew members.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene where Gabriel Byrne is talking to the captain, the ghost captain, over drinks. They're
Like,
having cocktails, and he's in this ghostly light, and it's so cartoonish. And it's just like, look, whatever you're trying to do, stop. This should be scary. Having just this nice little conversation over cocktails with the ghost captain of the ship, that should have been crossed out of the script immediately.
Because there's a similar movie called Below, 2002, with Bruce Greenwood. It was like a World War II a submarine that's haunted by spirits, and that's kind of pretty good. But I thought that was you're saying
the
it first.
idea of it was good.
Right.
And the overall plot line I was into, and the way that they initially enter this ghost ship when they discover it, and they find little clues to maybe this ship has been boarded before and what happened to the people that boarded it. All that stuff was interesting, and I was hoping that it was going to this place that was going to be satisfying, and I'd get some scares that were not gore or jump scares.
Right.
And
That's not, yeah.
And then I got to a point where I was almost hoping for something like that because it didn't even give you that.
Right.
Yeah, not so good. But here's one.
That's a turkey.
That is a turkey, yes. But here's one that I think that Larry will appreciate.
Ooh.
And I don't know if we've ever talked about it before, but I'm sure you have a fondness for it. And that is a film called The Milpitas Monster,
Oh, yes.
which was championed on the show that we talk about a lot, Creature Features.
Right.
And the host of that show makes an appearance in the Milpitas Monster. And the Milpitas Monster is this just ultra low budget film.
Totally.
The town of Milpitas got together and made this movie. It was shot over like 3 years by a high school.
Yeah.
Like the high school created this project. And they got the real police chief and the real mayor. And
It's got some stop motion in it.
it's got some
right?
actually pretty good
Yeah,
stop motion. And the Milpitas Monster is kind of cool. He's got a weird
It's like
insect.
made from pollution.
Yeah, made from
Right.
pollution. Can I say that it's a good film? No.
No.
It's plotting.
Yeah.
But done with spirit.
It's done with spirit.
$5 and a lot of spirit.
Yeah. Yes.
If I could quote Bob Wilkins, the host of Creature Features, he would tell us, look at this film as if it was yours. You put everything you could in this film yourself.
I watched it, and knowing the background of it, I'm rooting for it.
Yeah,
As I'm watching it,
Yeah.
I'm rooting for it. And there are a couple scenes that are fun. There's a lovable old drunk guy,
Of course.
who is the comedic relief, and he was pretty good. And the stop motion effects I really do enjoy.
They got Paul Frees to do the
And they got
narration.
Paul Frees to do the narration.
Yeah.
There we go.
And so let's end this on something I truly hate. And that would be 2002 Cabin Fever. Have we ever talked about this movie?
No.
This is the directorial debut of Eli Roth,
Ah.
who I've not enjoyed too many of his films.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
do like the film Hostel.
I do too.
I think that's a pretty solid film, and people cite it as one of the big torture porn films.
Yeah, that
but
is.
I don't see it that way. I think it's got a nice build-up.
It's an actual coherent.
It's a real movie.
Yeah.
He got to create a hostile environment.
You did.
Hey, he's back.
hey.
There he is. But Cabin Fever, this was the one that I was hearing all this advanced buzz about, that it was going to be this, real gritty kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hills Have Eyes type of film, but for the modern era. And a lot of big filmmakers were touting this film as the next big thing. I mean, Quentin Tarantino.
And touting Eli Roth as like God's gift to horror or something. Like I'd never understood. It was like it came out of the gate guns blazing, and I agree with you, Matt. It's a bad film.
It's terrible. Quentin Tarantino called Eli Roth the future of horror. From this film, Peter Jackson like this movie.
Really?
Showed it for his crew.
Really?
Yeah.
Were they
What are we missing?
I don't know.
intoxicated?
Well, what it is, it's in a nutshell, it is a bunch of teenagers. They're in this cabin and they're infected with this flesh-eating virus. You know,
Sounds great. Good premise.
that's fine. It's one of those movies where all the characters are annoying.
Everyone.
Everybody is annoying. And there's a lot of like weird scenes thrown in that don't make any sense, that are there to make it quirky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's what I hate the most in filmmaking is when someone is trying to make a cult film. Just
Yes.
make a movie. Don't try so hard to make this thing.
Wink, wink.
Right. Yeah. Everything was wink, wink
Yes.
all the way through that movie.
I agree.
And that was one that I really did want to walk out of. But I was with someone, and it was, you know how that situation goes. I had to sit all the way through this thing. And I was so mad because this was a movie that I was ready to like.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrible.
So as turkeys go, this is one
one-
you cannot.
This
the
is
pants
one-
are off.
That's a tank turkey that makes you angry.
Yeah,
This is one-
the pants are off.
the
You
pants
do
are
not.
off.
You do not want to watch
The
this.
pants are off. You've watched Sumeru.
Yeah.
Now you've gone to bed.
Yeah.
And you're asleep. And cabin fever is on.
And you just turn-
no one knows.
Well, we have to also mention, since it's Thanksgiving, that Eli Roth did a trailer for a film he never actually made called Thanksgiving.
Which is better than many of his films.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, because
It was in,
it's a minute and a half long. It was
Yeah, it was
in,
a trailer, fake trailer.
Is it for
Tarantino's
Grindhouse?
Grindhouse,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
It played in between the two different
Right,
parts
right.
of it.
He
yeah.
should
I agree.
probably do those kind of things.
Yeah.
Although,
I
again,
think now that's all he's doing.
but
What-
it's
and
what's
have you
weird is that
seen-
Hostel, to me, was a solid movie.
Now, I have not seen yet, and I've heard good and bad things, is Green Inferno, which is like his love letter to Italian cannibal
I've
film.
not
Yeah.
seen that, so
Yeah.
I can't say.
Yeah,
But-
but I hear the same thing where it has like out of context comedy things, and like I don't know, I'm curious though.
yeah.
But yeah.
one of these days. And
Yeah.
can I just throw in just very quickly, this is Thanksgiving, we got to throw Blood Freak out there.
Of course, of course.
Because Blood Freak is a movie that's 1972, and it's about a guy who turns into a turkey monster.
Yes. It's almost like it's tradition that you have to talk about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
he turns into a turkey monster because of drugs.
Because of marijuana.
Yeah,
Because of marijuana.
Listen, kids. Listen.
that's right.
Yeah, there's a Christian theme to it.
It's kind of it's yeah.
It's
You're like it's
weird.
a tradition. You have to watch that every Thanksgiving.
You see, that's what I'm afraid of, guys. You're all pushing, hey, Larry, try this drug.
Is that what
Into a turkey.
You probably do think that, though, don't you?
James, do you have something to discuss? Something to bring up? Yeah, come
right.
on. Send us out with a big bang.
Yeah.
All right. Back in the 70s, Michael Crichton could do no wrong. He had Westworld.
Yes.
He followed that up with Coma and The Great Train Robbery.
I like that.
He was a really good filmmaker and a really good novelist, but then in 1981, he made a film from his original screenplay called Looker with
I
Albert
love
Finney.
Looker.
I like Looker. I thought you were going in a different place with that.
Really? Which place do you think I was going?
Congo.
Oh,
Isn't
that was
right?
later.
Now
That
that's
was
a
later.
turkey.
That
Yeah.
was later.
Looker's fun though. It's ridiculous,
Look,
but it's fun.
It's ridiculous and it's fun. It's just disappointing. I expected more from him. Anyway, Albert Finney plays a plastic surgeon, and his models are getting killed
Susan
off.
Day.
Susan Day,
James
right?
Coburn.
Terry Wells, Playmate of the Year.
Yeah.
And James Coburn plays the head of this advertising agency with nefarious plans.
Good electronic soundtrack by Barry Dvorak.
Barry Dvorak, that's right, yeah.
And that great song in the beginning, She's a Looker.
Oh, that's catchy. Okay, so
I like that movie.
So here's the deal: you went to bed, you missed cabin fever,
All right.
you wake up, you remember there's a little extra turkey left,
Right, right. And it's Looker.
so you go down to the kitchen, make yourself a little turkey sandwich, you put a little cranberry sauce on it, and then you turn on the TV and there's Looker.
Yeah.
Look. I'm not saying it's nearly as bad as most of these other movies. I was just kind of, I was 16 at the time. I was kind of disappointed.
And what's the premise of that? Because it's an interesting premise.
It is an interesting
It's kind of
premise.
looking ahead at certain things like CGI.
Looking.
Right.
It is, but it's like
CGI, subliminal
all of
advertising.
all of his beautiful model clients are being killed.
Right.
That's because they're going to this mysterious ad agency and they're doing commercials and they're getting photos. But what happens is they're basically taking 3-dimensional photos of these models so that they don't need the models anymore. They can just use their images. So they kill off the models.
Right, because they promised the models, we'll buy you out so you never have to work again.
Right,
But then they kill them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but I enjoyed that.
They didn't lie to him.
It's goofy fun.
Yeah,
It's goofy fun, but not exactly a success for Crichton.
When you're talking Michael Crichton, you expect something a little more heady, a little more like...
I do like that movie, though.
Yeah, but it is. I enjoy
So
it.
as turkeys go, is this a recommend
lukewarm turkey, or-
It's okay. You know what? I'd say it's a
Room temperature?
It's a recommend turkey, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes good with Runaway.
Oh God, yeah. All right. Well,
Tom
yeah,
Selleck,
to the
Gene
degree that-
Simmons,
Yeah.
also Michael Crichton.
I like Looker
also
better.
fluff, but like enjoy
Looker's
Killer
better.
Robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. On our overrated, underrated, you remember my saying that I thought Silence of the Lambs was overrated.
Okay.
2001, Ridley Scott directs the sequel, Hannibal. Come on.
I loved Hannibal.
Why?
No.
Why?
I did.
We talked about
How
that
is
before,
that
right?
possible?
That's the one with what's her face?
Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
Julianne Moore.
yeah.
I liked her.
The only good thing about
One
that
scene.
was one scene with
scene.
what's his face
Ray Liotta.
getting his head cut
Where
open.
he
Yeah.
eats his brains.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
no,
You should
there's
go
no-
right to that
That's
scene.
literally the only thing I remember about that movie.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
It's a big nothing burger. Who cares?
Yeah.
Nothing anybody does in the movie makes. I just didn't give a shit about anything in it. I didn't care what Hannibal did in Europe. The scene in
didn't
the
like
I agree.
that?
I agree.
This is nothing.
No,
Again,
it's
one of those
boring.
movies just sits there. It
It's
just doesn't
nothing.
go anywhere.
I like what?
A big zero.
No, no,
Except
no,
for
no,
the
no,
brain
no,
scene.
No.
I want an action figure of Ray Liotta with his
That's
brain
the
sticking
only-
out.
that-
I want a
the only-
play set. You know? Like a big, like a Milton Bradley kind of ants in the pants type game.
or a ceramic bowl that made it look like Ray Liotta's face. You can eat from it.
Oh, I like that.
I like see how much fun these guys are talking about this film
About
and it's
what
yes.
you could do
Okay,
with
so
it.
this is what
I'm
happened.
just saying I enjoyed this film. I liked it. I didn't know where it was going to go. Yes, I was bothered. I would have liked to have seen what's her face in that
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster.
Yeah, what's your
So-
face?
But you know what? But Julianne Moore, I thought she did a fine job. And then the guy
She's
in
a
the
good
wheelchair,
actress.
the
Yeah,
guy in the
it's not-
wheelchair.
It's not her fault.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary Oldman. You didn't think that
whole
was
thing,
creepy?
I didn't care.
With
I
the
never
whole
cared.
cartoonish, like messed up face.
No.
It's
That
like,
was
oh, it was
cartoonish.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. He looked like Elmer Fudd. That's right, Sean.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
He
No,
looked like
no.
Elmer Fudd.
It was.
Don't
Okay.
put words into my mouth.
Moving on.
Wait a minute. So I gotta map this out here. So you finished your turkey sandwich
Yes.
and you've fallen asleep again from the tryptophan.
Yeah.
You wake up right at the scene in Hannibal where Ray Liotta's brain is being eaten.
And then it's time.
You laugh and then you fall asleep.
And then you
again.
find out you're allergic to turkey, and you have a bad reaction.
I was going to say then it's time for stuffing.
All right.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay, we're gonna go out with a bang here.
This
right?
is it.
Night of the Living Dead.
Bring us home.
Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and then even Day of the Dead in retrospect.
Yes.
Wonderful classic George A. Romero
Yes.
inventing the zombie genre. Had some high hopes. Don't ask me why for Land of the Dead from 2005. Nobody wants to shit on a horror legend.
No.
But man, was I disappointed. Holy
Terrible movie.
horrible.
I'm not saying it's a great movie, but I did not hate it. I still liked some certain things in the movie I thought were interesting. What they were trying to, at least they were trying to do something different with it.
There were moments of promise.
And the
But-
zombie stuff is good. I like the zombies.
Zombie stuff is not good.
I like the zombies evolving. I like them looking at the fireworks. I think that stuff is cool. I think
They
they're trying
look
to do
too
something different.
clean.
It's a fraction of what it should have been.
Sure, but I didn't. I think that movie's
Not a
shit
good
upon
movie.
way too much. I don't think it's as bad
terrible
as
movie.
people
I
think it is.
very, very disappointed. And then everything he did after that, going back to the. Just
What is it?
forget
Diary of the
I
Dead?
never-
That
Diary
one
of the
is.
Dead.
I never saw
Island
any
of the Dead.
Island of yeah. I never saw those actually.
It was
They're
probably
all.
better,
They could
better
they might as well be Sci-Fi Channel.
Really?
movies.
That's
Yeah.
too bad.
And just so I'm not ending on a down note,
Man
Yongari,
called Flintstone.
Yongari, Monster from the Deep, which I brought up once before. It's a terrible movie. It's Korea's answer to Godzilla. Very, very cheap special effects, but there's something so fun and innocent about it that was the movie watching late at night one night that made me renounce Woody Allen and go back to kaiju movies
That's
and,
cool.
and embrace them and love
That
them.
movie.
Yongari did it. Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
So so it's morning.
right.
You wake up in the morning.
Fresh
and
pot of coffee.
Pour yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. You look out the window. Zombie apocalypse happening. You think, well, what are we going to do now? Thanksgiving has been ruined. There's Yongari
See?
stepping on all
and
the
a
zombies.
and a slice of leftover pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then it fades out.
Wow.
All right, there you go.
Well, this has been great.
It has been
It's been
great.
filling.
Yeah.
Very
Turkey.
filling.
Turkeys.
Filling,
Turkeys,
yes.
good and bad.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we hit every sour, not quite so sour, and kind of lovable note.
Well,
totally.
I beg to differ, my friend, because
Of course you do.
I've got this big list, and I think we'll have to save it for next
I
Thanksgiving.
agree. Yep.
Tradition.
I literally did like half what's on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, because there are films out there that I do consider turkeys that I love. The funny thing is, I don't have anything that was a turkey that I hated, I haven't
me neither.
Most of these were like
Cabin fever.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
yeah, except for that,
I'm gonna
yeah.
Gray.
keep away. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay, but this has been really great sharing this moment with you guys and
Yes, it's good.
talking about these
See,
turkeys and
How many years have we been doing this show, and we're still tremendous friends,
Yeah,
and I am thankful for that.
Me too.
I agree. Ditto.
yes.
Larry?
I had to think about it.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
A toast to turkeys of all kinds.
Turkeys!
Time for listener shout out.
Shout out.
Gentlemen, we have 2 new podcast reviews.
Hey! I want to give thanks.
Yes, indeed.
Stuff me with them.
This first one comes from our friend and longtime listener, Carrie Christopher.
Carrie Christopher!
All right, Carrie.
The creature guy!
Yeah, we got to
Love
meet,
you, buddy!
Yeah, we got to meet Carrie at Monsterpalooza finally. Carrie is a
And the family.
and the family.
right,
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. He's a published novelist.
Yes,
His
he
novel,
is.
Right.
the horror novel, The Wash, came out a couple of years ago and is
That's right,
available
yeah,
on
yeah.
Amazon. Carrie writes, "Amazing, stupendous. Seriously, this is great. I've been listening for years, and they never cease to amaze me. Every episode is a treasure trove of information about genre movies, shows, TV, and more.
A treasure trove.
Even episodes where the topic is something I'm not usually interested in tend to grab me. My favorites are the horror obscura episodes,
Yeah?
where
We should do another one of those
Yeah,
soon.
we need to.
where I ended up with long lists of films I'd never heard of and had to seek out. Seriously, if you're a fan of genre films, you need to be listening to this podcast."
Yes,
Boom.
you do. Take that,
Right.
public.
Enough said.
Right.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yes.
Thanks, Carrie.
By the
Thank
way,
you.
Carrie also is one of our listeners who recently got to visit Tokyo and posted a picture from the Kaiju Sakaba restaurant,
Cool. Awesome.
sporting his Monster Party cap.
Oh, that's great. Good man.
The other review comes from someone identified as Kelp-Gerp 243.
Kelp
Wow.
girl.
Kelp-Gerp 243 writes,
Interesting.
"Quality.
That's it. Just that.
One of the best, quote-unquote, hang podcasts available. Extremely comfy, on-topic bants from capable minds. Also, feeling occasionally more mature than people roughly 10 years my senior helps squelch personal feelings of mortality.
Oh, that'll change.
For example, I'll bet one or more of them will read hang as hung.
Okay.
I'm well hang.
Kelp-Gerp, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Kelp
was
girl.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was great. That was hilarious.
That was thoughtful.
And, it's funny that I rarely even think of the fact that we may be a few years older than maybe some of our listeners.
Yeah.
Well, because we
those
don't,
young
'cause
whippersnappers.
we don't feel that freaking old. That's why.
That's true.
because we are eternally young for our love for horror and sci-fi.
All you have to do is walk into this room and you get a pretty good idea of like
Right.
where we're at here.
Right. Right.
Yeah, speaking of which, something happened at a recent Thanksgiving. Well, I just decided
A
to...
recent Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Meaning last Thanksgiving. Or
Okay.
do you have a lot of them during the year?
Well, imagine, if you will, you're a kid and
Okay,
you
got
love
it.
monsters
Yep.
and science fiction stuff, and you subscribe to one of the greatest magazines of all time called Famous Monsters of Filmland.
That's a good one.
I hold up here issue number 139,
Cool. I have that.
which
too.
has on the cover, this was when Star Wars had become this phenomena,
Yes.
and they actually had Darth Vader and C-3PO come to the Grauman's Chinese Theater to sign their autograph. And the picture here on the cover is that moment.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Was it Dave Prowse and was it Anthony Daniels?
No, it was not.
Okay.
Okay.
Just curious.
Yeah, some
Some clown.
Some clown.
I think the Darth Vader was played by the guy who played Trog.
That's why his belly was so smooth.
Well, so you guys are so Larry, why did you bring this up? Well, every once in a while I would bring a Famous Monster magazine to show you the cover or something like this. When we're talking about various films, and I'll take them out of the sealed wrapping that I have, and I page through it, and I came across something that made me so angry.
Ooh, interesting.
And this has to do with my two older brothers. One of my the older brothers, they knew how much I love this Famous Monsters magazine.
Yes.
They knew about this. Well, I subscribed to it, so the issue would come, and I'd open it up, and I'd open it up, and I'd read it or whatever. Well, one of my older brothers got a hold of this Famous Monsters magazine and thought it would be fun to draw pictures in the magazine.
Uh-oh.
I know it makes for great radio, but we're going to post some pictures here. So my brother takes his pen, he's very artistic, and here's this great picture from the man from Planet X, and he drew, and it shows the spaceship with the spaceman and the woman next to him, and then he draws this picture of somebody in the window going, "Buy this," and it shows a rubber frog, and I'm like, and then here's a picture from the day the Earth stood still, where he gave Klaatu an afro.
Oh my gosh.
He put a smile on Gort the robot holding a cocktail. But the thing that really pisses me off is he actually drew a big piece of poop coming out of a caveman going, "Ung!"
Okay, that's funny.
Anyway.
Now, did you discover this just recently? Or?
Well, here's the thing. I forgot all about this.
Right,
this was
right.
like over 30 years ago.
Right.
And I'm going through this, and I got so mad, and I knew which brother did this. And at Thanksgiving,
The one with talent.
yes. And at Thanksgiving, I decided to show him. Do you remember this? And of course, we all had a big laugh. Ha ha ha! Yeah, Larry destroyed your magazine. He felt really bad. He says, "What issue is that? I'm going to get you a new one." But the funny
Did he?
thing. Well, not yet.
Okay, maybe you'll be getting out for Thanksgiving.
Maybe the next Thanksgiving he's going to get me a new one.
Right,
but
right.
the funny thing was, this made me mad. But I have a second issue. I always have another
You do?
issue. Yeah. So
you don't even need another one.
no, but I need to make him get me one.
Oh, I see.
Because it's not, it means nothing if that means he destroyed one of my
that's true.
issues and he gets away.
No,
No,
that's true.
he
That's
has
true.
to.
Yeah.
You got to make it right.
He must
Yes,
pay.
Yeah.
and that's when we can bond and we can say give thanks because your
Brother didn't draw pooping cavemen in your mouth.
yeah.
right.
But
That would be. I mean, I could.
That would drive me
as a
crazy.
kid, my Famous Monsters. If my sister had drawn it, like I would have killed her.
yeah. So he basically drew all over
Wow,
this. I mean,
that's amazing.
That's terrible. No, all over the. Yeah, look at that.
That's-
Everywhere.
Yeah. I mean,
He's got the
take a picture.
Martian leader from Invaders from Mars with the caption "Nobody loves me."
but,
I did something similar
but
to my
it's-
sister.
really?
Did you really?
Yeah,
like a
she had a
Dynamite
bunch
magazine?
of. No, she had. This is the '60s, so she had some like rock and roll, Tiger Beat sort of magazines.
You drew penises all over
No,
David
but
Cassidy.
There was a Elvis section, and he's on the beach with a bunch of girls, and I cut out all the girls.
No.
And she got so mad.
The last picture I'll show you is because it's kind of a Star Wars issue. There's a picture of Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo, and he had them saying something that a lot of this was said in our family. One of his, Lucas says, "Hee hee, funny," which a lot of us said. The other is Princess Leia saying, "I think I'm gonna barf. The food is terrible here," which was another thing said in our household. But the other thing that was always said in our house was, "Wah, you're mean to me." And that's what Han Solo is saying. So
Wow.
I just want to say to my older brother who did all these drawings, yes, at first I was upset, but I've actually...
Now it's sort of a snapshot of your past.
Yeah, the past.
Right,
and
right.
it actually makes me laugh, and I actually like it because it's filled with all of his... Look at what he did on the underwear page. He actually drew.
There's an underwear page?
Do you remember when they were selling underwear? And
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah.
Look what he did.
Oh, wow.
He drew in legs and a body.
Yeah. Of course,
creative.
it's not crossed legs, but look, there's a little person with like poop falling on them.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
he was obsessed with poop. I
He
guess
was.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but.
What's he into now?
But
Just curious.
Well, he knows who he is. I don't need to say any names. But I just want to say to him that I look at this, it makes me laugh.
Yeah, so
and,
you've come to- right.
I've
You've
come to
come to-
appreciate it.
right.
And I appreciate
It
you.
is all over that
It is.
magazine. though.
It is. It is all over this magazine, and I do want to let him know that I appreciate him and all my other brothers and sisters and my family. And at times like this, you really think about, whether it's difficult times or whatnot, your family coming together and giving thanks. It's really a wonderful thing. And
Yes, it is.
It is. And another great thing about Thanksgiving, it's always a 4-day weekend. You can't go wrong.
That's true.
That's good. I like that.
Good.
I like
time
that
to-
part.
Good time to catch up on some turkeys.
Yeah, and I know.
Did our Native American ancestors, did they get a 4-day weekend? I don't think so.
Right.
Touchy.
But I just want to say, I know a lot of people get all wound up in the whole, Black Friday and spending and stuff. But I think it would be great just to spend a little time with family and maybe watch some of these turkeys.
Maybe
Yeah.
watch
it.
Black Friday.
Hey,
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Hey, let's remind our listeners that you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV. Our Twitter handle is at Monster Party HQ. Instagram is also Monster Party HQ. Please take a moment and write a review. Obviously, we will read them on the air, so don't waste any time. We'd love to hear from you.
Waste no time.
even if you write a critical one, because if there's something we can improve on, let us know.
Sure. Not that there is anything we can improve upon.
Oh, you. God, I love you. Oh, hey, and I got a plug. Friend of the show, Chris Mancini, one of the hosts of the Comedy Film Nerds podcast, has a Kickstarter for a 160-page comedy action graphic novel called Rise of the Kung Fu Dragon Master. It features art by Fernando Pinto, an artist who also worked with Chris on Long Ago and Far Away. So here's the plot. Rick, a small-time crook in Los Angeles, becomes an unlikely hero in the mystical battle between good and evil, which has been fought since the days of ancient China. And Rick is an angry, unfocused Fight Club member who is barely equipped to deal with, well, anything. Fans of action and comedy who like Shang-Chi, Army of Darkness, Big Trouble in Little China, and even 80s buddy comedies should all find something to like here. 160 pages of epic fights, Chinese mythology, sinister villains, and mouthy heroes, just the kind we like. Mark Waid, the writer of Daredevil, Kingdom Come, The Flash, Princess Leia, and Archie, says Chris Mancini is a crazy talented storyteller who is far more entertaining than anyone you know personally, even Cousin Chip, who I should really tell you keeps passing off Oscar Wilde's stories as his own. Don't reward Chip for making it weird. Reward Chris for producing a great book. It's the right thing to do. Check this all out on Kickstarter for more details and for pledge reward info. This Kickstarter ends Tuesday, December 10th, 2019, 11:59 Pacific Standard Time. That would be in the PM. So pledge today. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong!
Pop a button and watch a turkey.
And
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody!
Woohoo!
Stupid. You know what? I like it. No, it's good. Time for a listener shout out.
Did you guys?
Monster Party in 30 seconds. I like it.
I checked out the that Star Wars 15-second Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
It was hilarious.
I gotta see that.
Yeah, I'm watching the 15 and then it changes to somebody else doing it, and
That's funny.
And it was I found it very amusing.
Larry, could you speak into your mic?
Oh yeah. I'm
Test, test. Hello, hello.
That's okay.
You know,
Test, test. Ooh,
Testing,
I like
testing,
it.
1, 2, 3.
I like it.
Yeah, hey.
Wow. I sound so manly.
Present. Manly?
Now I did have
Interrupted feed.
Now I did have a little request.
Oh boy.
Just a little request.
All right.
In light of the thing. Now I've wanted to do this for a while.
Okay.
But last time when I wanted to do it, Sean's all, I want to get the fuck out of here.
Once again, Sean.
No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's well, I wanted to share some things with you, and I thought, you know what, today is the perfect day to do it.
Okay.
So you're telling us this, but you're not going to tell us what it is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're going to surprise us.
On the show.
Yes. How about that?
Okay.
Because if there's anything, it's about something that I was pissed about, made me angry. Someone had destroyed something, but eventually you come to understand it, appreciate it, and like it, and then you realize, this is what Thanksgiving's all about.
You know, your words have touched me so deeply that I have to take a pee.
No, I think you guys are going to get a kick out of it.
Okay.
Cool.
Really?
I think you are.
You know, a magazine that I've grown more and more respect for lately is Horror Hound. It's good. I mean, it's only $6.99, and it's packed with a lot of, every page is color.
Is it like a monthly or just?
Yeah, it's monthly. I think it
I don't know if
is.
I've ever seen it.
And they always highlight, like whatever they highlight, they include the paraphernalia. They did a Creature from the Black Lagoon issue, and there's all these creature collectibles. This month they have a Haunted Mansion feature, and there's all these Haunted Mansion collectibles.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's cool. It's a good magazine.
Yeah.
Horror Hound. I think I've seen the Horror Hound.
I recommend it, actually.
What am I? Not Whore Town.
Wait a minute.
Best and worst sci-fi
I
horror.
think I live in it.
No.
I was talking about Horror Hound magazine.
Horror Hound magazine.
I like
I've
it.
heard of that.
I like it. It's good. It's worth getting.
What do you mean you've
I
heard
might
of it?
actually
I have
subscribe
heard
to
of
the
it.
thing.
I've never read an issue.
I have an issue.
Do you have the creature issue?
I think I have the creature issue.
It just came out a couple of months ago.
You almost said that like Larry. Do you have the creature issue?
Am I really like that?
Sometimes.
I'm working on it.
Don't. Please,
What,
God,
you don't want me to work? You don't want
I
want me
you
to
be
make
as damaged of a person as you've always been.
For our listening and enjoyment.
Yes. Yeah.
Have any of you guys been to Hallmark this year?
No.
The ornaments? Some pretty cool ones.
Like what?
the Blade Runner spinner.
Yeah,
Ooh.
we
No.
ordered that.
Sound?
did.
Does it light up?
No,
Whoa, whoa!
I don't think it lights up. The wheels turn, which is like,
It's awesome.
Wheels turn.
Okay,
It's
that's
awesome,
That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
You call bullshit.
You can't have like a little light inside. To make
I would have
little-
preferred it, but no.
How about a Voight comp machine?
Ooh,
You know,
maybe next year.
I realize I'm sorry. I'm yelling at you like you're responsible, and I want
He is kind of.
I know. No, he's
Yeah,
not.
he is.
I want to apologize, James. I didn't
Don't
mean to get
apologize.
mad at you.
It's okay, Larry.
It's
You never have to
Thanksgiving.
apologize.
Who was it? We had a guest.
Let's give thanks for our internal bickering.
There's also a really cool Wonder Woman in her invisible plane, really tiny, and a really great.
You almost had me, but you ruined it when you added plane.
You know, it's funny you should say. I don't mean to be like twisted or something, but I thought you would say invisible bikini or something. I thought that's what you were going to say.
Guys, one track mind,
Yeah, I know.
And,
We like girls.
and a really cool bat boat with Batman and Robin in it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And Larry, there's a tree topper Hogwarts with the lights up that's gorgeous. I mean, I'm not.
Whoa! Is it
Here
the
you go.
school?
I think so.
Okay,
yeah.
because let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Hallmark made this is like a number of years ago. They made a beautiful Hogwarts. It's the school
Ornament?
and it lit up. And I think you press a button, it makes some music or something like this. It is it's so desirable. People pay over like $100-$150 for this one. I've been trying to find it because I missed out when it came out a while back, and it's just way too expensive.
Well, this thing is huge. It's like this size.
Size
and
of
it's-
this
and it's
turkey
for the
on our
tree.
table,
and it's for
which
the,
is roughly like 12 by 12.
It's for the top of the tree, and it lights up. And that's right now. It's going for. It's new. It's going for like $115 or something. But I was
Oh.
impressed.
It's
like,
Hallmark though.
Hallmark. Yeah.
So what about I guess, is it Carlton that does the Godzilla ornaments?
Yes, it's Carlton. Yeah.
So what are they doing? Do we know?
Good question.
There's another. I know what the company is, but actually, somebody on Facebook on Monster Party sent us a site for some.
Speaking to your mic.
For some site, and it's,
Dick.
They have. We ordered this Phantasm sphere.
Oh, yeah.
As an ornament, and the Book of the Dead from Evil Dead.
As an
that's
ornament?
cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is this a mass-produced thing, or is it like...
Yeah. It's
really?
Look on the Monster Party messages and the posts from
I'll check it
friends.
out.
Somebody sent that.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
it's great.
Yeah.
They have like Devil one, like all kinds of cool.
I finally
twisted
got the HAL one that you have because I love that so much.
Which one?
The HAL 9000.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wait.
That's really cool.
There's a HAL 9000?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came out last year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or 2 years ago,
I'm
I think,
so
even, right?
See, I'm so behind.
And this year, they also have an Oompa Loompa, a 1974 Oompa Loompa. It's
Really?
cool,
Wait,
yeah.
wait.
That's cool.
From classic.
Classic, yeah.
Is it in scale with the Gene Wilder?
Unfortunately, it's not.
It's almost like a giant Oompa Loompa.
yeah.
Defeats the whole purpose.
I know. What they should have done was have them in scale and have like 4 of them in
Well,
the
they can make
package.
all the kids. They should make all
I know.
the kids.
Maybe they will. Maybe they will.
A violet as the blueberry. I mean, the perfect ball.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
she just passed away.
Oh,
So her estate would have to give
sure.
clearance for the license. But you know what? If I were that family, I'd say yes. I mean, get a few bucks.
Did
There's
she finally succumb to blueberryism? Is it too soon?
No, she did not. Oh! You just reminded me about something.
blueberries.
No, someone just passed away. I wanted to bring it up. Shit.
No, I know who you're talking about. Oh my God.
Yeah. You know that person. Yeah. And
it kills me.
Someone just passed away, and I said,
wait, I know
oh
this.
my gosh. I have to. I know we're gonna say something, or James is gonna say
No,
something.
Hold on.
Do you have something?
Actress, right? Yes, it's the thing that wouldn't die.
Yes. The brain that wouldn't die.
Brain that wouldn't die. Or thing that wouldn't die. What is it called?
The
Is it
brain that wouldn't die.
There's both. There's the thing that could.
What is the
thing
girl?
that
The woman
couldn't
in the
die.
pan.
The brain that wouldn't
The
die.
brain that wouldn't die. I always get those confused.
Jan in the pan died?
Jan in
Yes,
the pan
yeah.
died. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And you know, I didn't realize how much other work that she had done
She was hot too, actually.
in the pan.
Yeah. No, before the car crash.
As all-
she's like, yeah.
Disembodied heads.
of all heads
Is
in the
that
pan.
Catherine Reynolds? Is that her
Yeah.
name? Let me see. Hold on. Oh no, Virginia Leith. The brain that wouldn't die passes away at 94.
There you go.
We also-
94. That's,
also
that's a
lost-
pretty good run.
Yeah.
But maybe it's well. Can we do a good one though?
What do you mean?
Because that was like that's an example of what you don't want.
well, no, I'm
What
not
do you mean?
doing it for the show.
He's not doing an official
Yeah.
one, Rao. He's
Not
just
really.
researching.
Who else?
That James would
But
say.
I wonder if
And
they put her head in a pan, if she would have had like maybe 5 more years.
It's too soon. It's not-
Okay. You know what? You bring up a good. Okay, let me.
Do I?
Can I just? Yes. Can I just ask you a stupid question? You know they've done this
Sure.
on The Simpsons. Okay, so let's say, Matt Weinhold's life is coming to an end, but you
Right.
know what? They can.
Only a matter of
minute
time.
too soon.
Okay, but no. listen. But they can remove your head,
Yeah.
and put it in a pan.
Futurama.
Yeah,
Like Futurama, right, yeah.
And so there your head is. And go, hey, I'm Matt Weinhold. Hey, you know.
hey, wow,
Hey
there, hi there, ho there.
You know, and they can feed you like little fish food type stuff, and you
Fish
could.
food
Well,
type
you know,
stuff.
it's like they sprinkle it in, and you.
I want to
suck
be
it
in a biscuit gravy solution.
Okay, but you would just turn to mush. But let's say you're alive, and you
Gonna
get to
ruin
see
everything.
you get to see life.
But I'm
past-
just ahead.
Yes, but you can talk, which it makes no sense whatsoever. But let's say you can, and so there's your head in the pan, and maybe you're next to, I don't know, some other heads in pans and stuff, and you go, "Hey, Joe, how you doing over there?"
See, I think what is more likely to happen would be that they would be able to put my brain in some way into an android body. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
You want an android body?
I want an android body,
wanna live
Captain.
forever?
I want to live forever.
That is a great line.
It is a great line. But yes, and I agree with her. That's what I want. I don't want the head. No, I'm not doing the head. And then, like when they do cryogenics now, there's a lot of people that have their whole body frozen. And then there are some people
Yeah.
that just do the head.
Do the head. That's right.
I want to be encased in an android body of Sherry Jackson.
Oh, wait. If I understand you correctly, so you want your brain put in the body
Yeah.
of a female?
Yeah, of Sherry Jackson.
Yeah, but
from What Are Little Girls Made Of?
Yeah, but dude, that means so that
I
means
can look at
you're-
myself all day in the mirror.
Wouldn't you get tired of that, Sean?
No.
Would you like
You had no
fondly-
idea the level of freak that Sean Sheridan
See, that's
is.
see, that's the funny thing. People they meet Sean, they go, "Oh, he's a nice nerdy guy with little glasses. He's a very nice." And you just don't realize. You just don't realize.
Dark underside.
Yeah, you do have a dark, twisted underbelly.
I have such sights to show you.
Yes.
I am Sean Sheridan.
Now, before we get started, can I just ask one question?
What is the name of our episode?
Okay, it's a second question.
Okay.
Is that sponge supposed to be there for?
Yeah, that's my special. That's my special sponge. No,
it's-
That's a collectible. That's from the 70s.
Because it's looking right at me.
That's
Yeah.
that's the sponge from Planet Aros. It's a sideshow, right?
No. Okay, for listeners,
put this in Mylar.
for listeners, if I could just paint this picture.
Paint a picture.
You've got this beautiful, all these shelves filled with all these toys and vintage toys and beautiful displays right behind James. And then I'm looking down, there's this great little statue of Frankenstein and the bride. And then there's a sponge that you would wipe your sink with, and it's sitting right there. It's like,
But I
it
didn't.
doesn't-
I wiped my shelf with that. This table right here.
well,
you go.
that-
Fresh, spankin' fresh sponge. That's how much I care about you.
well, I want you to know that I appreciate you using a fresh sponge.
Yeah.
And
Fresh from my ass. Okay. All right. What are we calling this?
So that's the first thing. So the second thing is the title.
I think it should be Monster Party Turkey Shoot.
I
Turkey
agree.
shoot. Okay.
Turkey shoot.
Because, turkey shoot is a common phrase, and we're shooting jabs at the turkeys.
And it's also shoot like a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I said I'd go along with the majority.
Thanks for your
so-
support. Thanks for being on board in such a enthusiastic way.
Well, can I ask a stupid question? I mean, are we poking fun at movies?
Some of them.
Because
Well, yeah, the idea this is about movies that are pretty bad in our eyes.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't mean we don't like them, or we could hate them, we could love them, we could be,
could be anything.
indifferent about them.
It could be
But they're just
anything you
movies that
want.
we consider really bad for whatever reason.
They're bad, or people think they're bad.
Production
Maybe.
values, it's a story,
Right.
the special effects, but just in general, it's an overall turkey for whatever
Okay.
reason. Not doesn't have to be a box office bomb.
No,
It can be just movies that we think just don't work or are terrible, but
Or
we
that
can still
other
love.
people don't.
because
Yeah.
my list is films that I think people considered a turkey, and maybe I considered turkey, but I liked it.
Yeah.
And that's
Pretty
the
much every
majority.
one of my list. Not only do I like them, but I own them on DVD or Blu-ray.
See, because
so
that's okay.
Yeah,
and
that's okay.
I guess
Yeah.
we can save this for our discussion too.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
All right. So Monster Party Turkey Shoot.
yeah.
Wait, I better write this down
Why do you have to write it down?
because I kind of repeat unless you don't want me to do that.
Well, I will say it to you, and then you repeat what I say.
Are you going to forget it? and
So
need to
I'm
refer
going to
your
say it,
notes?
and then you're going to look down at your notes.
Like I always do.
How would you like it if you say that and then all of a sudden I go Monster Party Turkey Shoes?
Whatever.
Is this like
That would-
Memento where you don't have
Turkey
short-term memory
shoes.
and you have to write everything down on Post-it notes?
You should write things down, James.
He doesn't need to. Well, he does. He just writes them. He just writes them very tiny.
And by the way, aren't you glad I'm not sitting next to you today?
That's right.
So I can't look at your notes.
No temptation.
And the turkey's in the way.
There you go. Perfect.
Are you happy?
I'm thrilled.
Is this turkey in the middle of the table? Is that something that you normally use for your Thanksgiving holiday?
Decorations, yeah.
Yeah. So
So what we do is as you guys know, we have a bunch of turkeys, and we create like a little turkey display.
Okay.
Our little Thanksgiving, our Halloween
Turkey Army.
Yes, our Halloween display, which actually is still up, by the way, goes away, and turkeys take up the space. But what we do, which is very clever, the pumpkins that we have for Halloween, they all have the cut face and what. You just turn them, and now it's just a pumpkin, and that works for Thanksgiving.
Very thrifty.
And I have a bowl of guess what, Sean?
Candy corn.
No, those pumpkins.
Oh,
The
yeah.
pumpkins that you gagged on. But
You
again,
didn't gag.
No, I did get a little stomach.
You got a
ache.
stomach ache.
Oh, you got a stomach ache from
and,
them?
and you spit yours out. But I like.
I'd still eat them though.
Oh my God, James.
I ate mine. I could stop. I could only stop at one though.
Yeah.
Little sugar overload. The teeth start to hurt.
Yeah.
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 No, those pumpkins are telling you not to eat them.
You know, when I eat those pumpkins, it reminds me of my youth.
Yeah, just a taste of candy corn kind of brings you
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You know what reminds me of my youth? Blowjobs.
Really, really.
Good times. Those are some good summers.
I mean, what did you do?
I'm thankful. I'm thankful, right?
You run around going, "Hey, blow me!"
That's what. Yeah, that's because that's how you get
What did
blowjobs.
you do?
That's how you get blowjobs, Larry.
school.
You just
Yeah.
burst into the
That
classroom.
actually
Hey, blow me,
blow me!
chicks.
I'm the blow me guy. Oh,
Wow.
I had a blow me booth at the carnival.
You had a shirt that said "blow me." Don't you?
Yeah, Bikini inspector, all that stuff worked for me.
Man, the kind of life you lived, man. It just boggles my mind.
Okay, let's get going.
Okay, now you're getting me all melancholy.
Now you're cooking with gas.
Okay, here we go.
Wait,
Ready?
wait. Do we have the camera?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And so you have the topic.
Off the topic. Monster Party's turkey shoot.
Is it monster parties?
The Monster Party turkey shoot. The Monster Party turkey shoot.
I think so.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Because then later we can do Monster Party Turkey Shoot Part 2, Volume
Part 2.
4, yeah.
Unplugged.
Ooh.
On crack. Okay, here we go. No, we're not doing that. Okay.
Maybe
Wait,
on
wait
booze.
for the plane. Wait for the plane. We probably can't hear it, but it's just, why not? Let's start fresh.
Did you ever hear that stuff like when we...
Only if it's there was
I never
one time.
noticed.
There was one time. Remember, it was like really loud. I think there was some sort of police action
Yeah,
going on.
yeah. It was a
and
helicopter.
that I could hear just a little murmur of.
Mm-hmm.
But one of these days I'll get this place soundproofed. But hey, we're like it's raw. It's guerrilla.
Yeah.
But for the listeners, this is a great room.
It is a
I
great
mean, if
room.
you come in, and it's great because every time the guests come in, they all react the same way. They're all like, "Whoa, hey,
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'd like to think
They're
so.
all
It's a
impressed.
toy museum.
Yeah. And it's our headquarters. It's what.
Right.
It's where we would feel comfortable.
Studio A.
Okay.
Is it really Studio A?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because there's no B.
But see, I thought A was in Studio City, and this is B.
Yeah, but that's not active anymore. So that gave up being Studio A. So now this is
Right.
Studio A.
So this is Studio A.
Yeah.
All right.
That studio gone. All right, this is fun. However,
Yeah.
we probably should start this.
Yes.
Okay. Ready? Maybe we should do because we're getting to the 2-hour mark here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we do a lightning round?
Okay. So yeah. So
Is that okay?
I guess. Wow, there's so many more, but yeah.
But-
well,
I mean-
no. Can I just say this?
We're at 2.
Hang on.
with extras,
yeah, it's true.
Wait.
but still, even if we do a lightning round, we'll be at 2 hours.
Well, do we all have...
I have a
same
couple.
number-
So
same number of regular
yes,
turns
yes,
already?
yes.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
That's what I'm saying. We
so
started
right
with
now
you.
With me.
there are
Okay.
18 films that we've done.
You've written down? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I was going to say, if we could make this next one just maybe a little faster, not a lightning round.
But like
this
two or
next
three
one.
together?
Let's
No,
do
no,
a
no.
lightning round.
Okay, then what I'm going to do go
Well,
into
but you
this
can.
is great.
We call it. Look, how many times do we call it a lightning round?
Miniature, mini Reader's Digest versions of what we've just been doing.
Okay.
I can name like 2 or 3, but much faster.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Right?
that's all I'm asking for.
Okay.
So who's next? Me?
That would be
well,
you.
are we going to
But
say?
you should,
Yes.
you should say the lightning round thing then, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm
Okay.
going to say this
Right?
has been great.
Should we?
Yeah. However you want to do it.
Okay.
Can I say this has been great? Of
course
Or is that
you
old
can.
hat? Is
I
that-
do not mind that at all.
Or is that this has been a load of fun? Or this is
This has been very filling.
Oh, I like that. I like that,
There you
Sean.
go. Perfect.
See,
Feel filling
you're a
with turkey.
genius.
I am.
Maybe you should say it.
You know what I love is all the flowery language that comes out of your mouth.
I'm flowery, but I'm also sleazy and
Yes.
into sexy stuff.
And
right.
master of deadpan.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a lot of things. I'm Mr. Gigolo also.
Mr. Gigolo.
So many things.
That's how I first met him.
He's a Renaissance man, isn't he?
Yeah.
There's a turkey right there, Renaissance man.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, what should we do for
Well, we talked about buttons and zippers. There's pants.
America Strong? Watch turkey films
Turkey shoot. Turkey shoot.
Have
Put the
your own-
title.
Do your own turkey shoot. Turkey.
Have your own turkey shoot.
Have your own turkey. Shoot.
Pop a button and watch a turkey.
Yeah.
There you go.
And happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And then we all say it.
Yeah.
Pop a button on the pop. Shoot
Just
it in
say
the pants.
pop a button because
No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
See, you two.
it's like it's just. It's
I
like
mean,
Lennon and McCartney.
have you guys ever thought of working together on something?
Yeah, that's true. Genius. If we need some puns, and you just look good.
I've got nothing. All right, let's do
go.
this.
Okay, here we go. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Wow. Wow. Tryptophan isn't affecting you at all.
Well,
I'm sorry. I should have just gone with it, but it made me laugh.
No.
And it was like all of a sudden, like time was slowing down.
No, I wanted to give it a good, strong, masculine,
strong.
turkey
You're really hitting the masculine thing. No one finds you girly.
Well,
Trust me.
all right. No.
Okay.
Should I try
We'll
that
just do
again?
it again. Let's do it again.
Should I make it quicker?
Maybe just a tad. We're already at 3 hours.
I
so-
know, but we're not at 3.
I know.
But
Almost.
see, I didn't want every one of them to sound the same. I wanted to
You should
change
do
it
like
up.
keep America strong. Just do it really weird.
Okay.
Cable America strong now.
Okay, is that what you want? Keep America strong.
No, just don't do that.
All right. Now I'm frightened. I don't know what the hell's coming.
What's the
Okay, here we go.
Keep America strong. You want that?
No.
Yeah, do it like
please.
Minja. No.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have a turkey sound?
I was just about to say. I thought I had turkey sound.
After you say and happy Thanksgiving.
I thought you could do the turkey
That's
sound.
true, you could do it too.
Yeah.
This is like a really
Do your
good-
turkey
You know how
sound.
to do it.
Yeah.
Do your
Do
turkey.
I?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
I think that's funnier than having a.
Say pop a button, watch some turkeys.
Do your turkey sound.
Better
What sounds
turkey.
good?
I like
If
your
you can
turkey.
do it, then that's good.
Do your turkey sound.
No, my turkey's not.
Can I hear it? Do it.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
No, come on. You did it before.
Do you have turkeys applauding?
Nice.
Oh, that is funny. That is funny.